can't believe I'm regretting not watching more isekai anime. How the heck do I get back to the real world?
An expert biologist, and when this handsome fellow isn't traveling across the world doing research, he's at home cooking a great meal?
But yeah, that's all true, but Sancho, where did you get that?
An excellent assistant knows how to write an excellent introduction. You got it, boss.
Or taking a long walk on the beach? Who wrote this mess?
Shit. He said what?
I think you know what white people think, and you don't.
I don't know what white people think.
Then why do you keep on saying you know what white people think?
Because I've seen it. I'm not
you've
saying
seen our thoughts?
I've seen what people have done to me and people who look like me around the world and around in America.
How? Again, you are, let's just make an example. You are here in the wealthiest country ever.
Yes.
At an amazing university with all the opportunity imaginable in front of you. And all you want to do is look backwards at everything that prevented you when you are a glaring example that there is no systemic racism and you can actually achieve your wildest dreams.
I never said that. I'm not the only black person who exists out there. There's so many people who this culture is affecting to this day.
Do you know black Americans are the richest black people on earth? You cannot find a black majority country or any country where black people have significant representation where they are as wealthy, because even the poorest people in America are in the top 5%, the top 2% of wealth around the world. And so my whole belief is stop acting like you're a victim and start making better choices.
Not acting like a victim, bro. This is not a victim mentality.
No, it fundamentally is, because white people are not out to get you. There's nothing. There is nothing holding black people back. Let me say that again. There is nothing holding black people back. In fact, the opposite. You can get into colleges with lower test scores. But you could say things that white people can't say and not be fired for it. Black people are wildly disrepresentation.
Well, people say that to me all the time, and they just walk around like it doesn't mean anything around here.
Say what? Say the what?
The N-word. I'm not going to say it on this public platform, but people say it to me all the time.
It derogatorily.
Yes.
No, I think you're lying.
Why would I be lying?
So you're trying to tell me at this campus, did you report to student services?
I'm not. I have too much on my plate to worry about this.
So you're going to say at this campus, you're going to indict the moral character of Texas A&M.
I'm not indicting the moral character.
Oh, yes, you are. You're saying that.
I'm indicting the moral character of one person or a few people.
Oh, well, now it's one. So you heard it all the time, and now it's one. Got it.
Holy shit. He said what?
I think you know what.
Isn't it amazing that victims will play the race card, will blame everybody else for their life choices? It's not really just black Americans. It's actually even here in New Zealand amongst our own population, right? It's quite sad, because it just means that, like, you know, it's easy to blame others for your own shortcomings. But I hope that, you know, as we learn, as we grow as humans, we learn that the only people responsible for our life choices are us. And hopefully that today, you know, we'll have some fun here on this channel. We'll talk about some stuff. We're going to talk about some movies that came out recently, especially by YouTubers, and one atrociously weird movie. Oh, that took me forever, bro. Forever to actually watch. Well, 2 weeks, maybe a week, in about 3 to 4 different settings. and that is, since we're here, let's get to this one first. It is Hard to Be a God. Have you ever heard of a movie called Hard to Be a God? Right? Hard to Be a God is by Andrei Tarkovsky, right? He's a Russian dude who took 30 years to make a movie that was his life, his what would you call that? It's like his life's goal to bring this movie to life. And it's one of the most hard to watch movies ever. Like, this dude was a genius Russian director, right? He made a movie called let me put this link out there in the chat, and his name, of course, and so you can see his actual bibliography on IMDb. This dude was like, gosh, a genius. If I can say anything, he was a genius, right? This dude, man, like it says here, like he's the most famous Soviet filmmaker since Sergei Einstein, Andrei Tarkovsky, the son of noted poet Arseny Tarkovsky, studied music, Arabic in Moscow before enrolling in the Soviet film school Vijek. He shot to international attention with his first feature, Ivan's Childhood, which won the top prize at the Venice Film Festival. So let's have a look at this. Right, this is Ivan's Childhood. I came across this. I don't think I've ever watched any of his movies until this past week or so. Right, Ivan's Childhood is basically a coming-of-age movie set in Russia, psychological drama, war, and during World War II, Soviet orphan Ivan Bondarov strikes up a friendship with three sympathetic Soviet officers while working as a scout behind German lines. So this is a trailer here. Let's give it some, hopefully the volume. So I came across this director, right, Andrei Tarkovsky, because of a YouTube video that came across my homepage. And I was like, what is this? Because, you know, I have a background in filmmaking, right? I spent 3 years of my life studying filmmaking, you know, on digital filmmaking, you know, digital cameras, Sony, 1080p and all that stuff, right? Back in about 2004 to 2006. Got my bachelor's degree and everything, and then had a car accident, which basically meant that I couldn't stand up for long, and because the next day I would be in pain and I'll be in bed because of the injuries to my neck and spine due to the car accident, right? Like about 7 months after finishing my degree, you know, we get in the car accident. Someone hits us in the back of the car, and that's it. So I came across this, let me put up this link here so you guys can watch it later as well in full, from Rockland Graves Productions. And I was like, what is this film he's talking about, right? Because I'm, you know, being a cinephile, right? Someone who loves movies and stuff, and enjoys, enjoys watching new movies, trying to experience what else is out there in the world, because I love foreign films. Last week alone, I must have watched about two Japanese foreign, subtitled movies and live action. Not to mention watching Thus Spoke Kasabi Rohan, right, which is a live action series based on the anime miniseries of the same name by the creator of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I'll show a bit of that later. But let's look at what some of the images from this movie called Hard to Be a God. put out by this gentleman here on Rockland's Productions, film productions.
Out of every movie I've ever talked about on this channel, I'm not sure that there's ever been something that I simultaneously think is super well made and really interesting, and also something that I don't know if I can actually recommend to anyone. Alexei German's Hard to Be a God is an adaptation of a novel of the same names by the Strugatsky brothers, the same fellows who wrote the material that inspired Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker. I found out about this movie a little while ago because Louise Ford, the editor who's been working with Robert Eggers for a very long time, mentioned in a podcast that this is the only movie that Eggers had given to the cast and crew as a reference to work with going into production on Werewolf, which is set to release Christmas Day later this year. It was also an inspiration for Ari Aster while working on Midsommar, and if you have a movie that's inspiring filmmakers like that, then it's probably got something going on. I decided to check it out, and I can, at the very least, confidently say that I've never seen anything like it. German started to work on this film all the way back in 1968, just a few years after the novel released. And he actually co-wrote a draft with Boris Strugatsky, but it wound up being canned due to some political issues at the time. Let's keep things brief. I wasn't able to find much about this, but the film fell through 2 more times, once of German's own volition for some reason, as he talks about in the behind-the-scenes featurette, and it wasn't until 2000 that he was actually able to start shooting this movie. Filming lasted 6 years, concluding in August of 2006, and post-production took over twice that long, with the movie finally releasing in November of 2013, 9 months after the death of Alexei German at the age of 74. His family were the ones who ultimately finished the movie, with him nearly seeing it through to the end, as the years spent in post-production largely focused on the sound of the film, which is extremely detailed. I think that whether or not someone enjoys this movie or even decides to give it a shot, it's clearly like the definition of a passion project, taking a staggering 45 years to release from the time it entered Alexei's mind and he began work on it. This film was something that he worked on for quite literally the majority of his lifetime, and it's insanely tragic to learn that after that long, he never got to see it premiere or even see the final cut. The behind-the-scenes featurette on Kino Lorber's release of the movie is basically just German rambling about Russian history, his childhood, art, and philosophy. It's interesting and also just really sad.
Моя жизнь началась с того, что от меня хотели избавиться. Ну как? Мама уехала в Одессу, потому что за аборты сажали.
Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of thing on this. You get a sense that this guy had, he was troubled. Hard to Be a God tells the story of a man using the alias Don Ramata, a scientist from Earth who's sent to the planet Arkanar, which shares many similarities with Earth, but is trapped in a sort of permanent medieval age as the Renaissance not only never happened here, but is being actively suppressed in an attempt by those in power to maintain their control and stop the intelligence of the people from expanding. Ramata is not allowed to interfere and is only meant to watch, but he's revered as a god by certain people here and struggles to maintain his distance. Basically, this story occurred that he was the son of a god, so now he's seen as a deity. The movie has an absolutely fascinating...
I gotta say, man, this movie is like, it took me 3 different settings to watch How to Be a God. And usually when I go to watch a movie, I don't do it, during the time that I'm working. I gotta do all my work, get it all out of the way, and then settle down and then go, okay, now before I go to sleep, I'll watch a movie. And so what happened with this was, like, I watched about an hour in and I kept falling asleep. And usually if you're watching a movie that's interesting, you don't fall asleep, because it's like there's things in it that keeps you coming back, going, oh, that happened, oh, that happened. This movie just moves along at a pace that things constantly happen, but the sound, which, as Rockland mentioned there, that it makes you, it's so well done that it's almost like lulls you into sleep. And it's a real drudgery to watch this movie. And it's just gross. It's like every image in this movie is gross. It's like, it's not really pleasant watch. It's like, it's what makes it reminds me of what communism is, right? It's like a really gross, grinding thing, right? And there is piss, there is vomit, there is shit, there's rotten bodies, there is decomposing dogs, humans, people dying everywhere. This is like what if you want to think about what medieval times was like, this is really it. It's like there's no value to life. People are just, killed whenever whoever is in charge feels like it. Let's watch the trailer. It is. I've never seen a movie this hard to watch ever, right? And I've watched, there were some movies that like horror movies like that I've watched that was like, oh man, I don't think I want to watch any more of this, but I've still watched it through. Whereas this one's like, I have to finish because I need to finish it because it's obviously getting somewhere. Otherwise, why is it made? And the thing is, he mentioned that like, it was like 9 years or 6 years after the guy passed away that the movie was completed because, it's his family that put it all together. I don't know what part, like I haven't researched into it to see how much more, information is out there about this in the sense of what this, because usually I don't want to look too much into behind the scenes of like how the sausage is made as such when it comes to things like this, because you really got to experience this movie because it's like, this is like it's like horror, but like a slice of life. It's like it's part of their existence, and it's just horrible. And it's like really like and it's not for faint-hearted at all, right? Like this movie is not for the faint-hearted at all. This movie is one of like the most grimiest, dirtiest, disgusting, feeling movies you want, right? It's like, I mean, you get not you want, but the kind of movies that you kind of think, well, yeah, this is too real. It's just like it moves from scene to scene to scene, but it's like they're basically walking into these scenes. They're not like set scenes. They're just like, it feels like it's like and I don't know how they were able to do this over a 6-year period of making this movie, shooting the preliminary camera work, right? The videos, the actual film before post-production, just so they could actually put it together after 6 years of filming this. It's crazy. Like the set is just, it's just crazy. Check this out.
Это не Земля, это другая планета. Такая же, как Земля, но не догнавшая ее лет на 800.
See this, look at this. See this. This is like dirt and grime and snot and crap and mud and soil. It's just the grimiest thing I've ever seen. And he's always dirty. And this is what talk about continuity, right? In movies where like one shot, one scene to next scene has to have look the same, right? So you can't have like, oh, he's got grime over here, and the next shot he doesn't have grime. So you got like, it's the film work on this movie is amazing, man. See what I mean? It's like it's like the grossest film you'll ever see, and it was made in the 60s, right? But it didn't come out until 2013 when it was finished. And the set design, the costumes, man, it's just amazing. Oh, and by the way, that there is actually blood that he's just wiped on his face. So this is, gosh, I think I can't remember his name now, but he is basically a person from another world who's here in this medieval planet, and that's been oppressed by those in charge. So they're continuously left in the state of decay, and hell, really, the people are just like, there's no value to them. And I'm like, how does this all work? And I'm like, this is what it must have been like living in the Middle Ages. You know, there's armies, there's soldiers, there's monks, there's a religion, you know, there's leadership, but it's like, how does it all work? And it's just like such drudgery, right? Because every scene is so well crafted. The details at the back, like all the background scenery, the set design, the costumes. It is such a, like, this is a movie that you experience. Like, you know, like most movies, like it's like, okay, this is these are the characters, and then 5 minutes in, or 10 minutes in, or 15 minutes in, depending, you know, how long the movie is, you have what's called an inciting incident. Something happens that sets the whole thing off, right? And that's basically in any story, right? You got to have these things in modern storytelling. You got to have these things that, like, you have like a introduction of the characters, then inciting incident, then you have the middle bit of things that happen, then you have where the hero wants to give up, but somebody comes along and goes, no, you have to go through with this, or he realizes that no, he's got to go through with this even though he doesn't want to because it's too much. And then comes the resolution, right, where you have the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes of the movie where it all comes together, right, to end, to the climax, to finish off. However, this movie doesn't follow that structure at all. It's like a third person. It's like your point of view. You're watching all this happen. Like, you're the eye, right? You're looking on this. Like, everything is shot from us looking at this world. And it is a very gross society that they live in. And by the way, that little bit there shocked me, because I was like, someone had just been pulled out of that. And then I'm like, oh, if he had been pulled out of that, that guy would have come and executed him. Right? He would have been set on fire. And it is one of the craziest movies I've seen that isn't modern, that isn't set to like make you afraid, make you scared, make you, you know, jump scares, you know, kind of like, you know, the whole Michael Myers, Hostel, you know, kind of thing, horror movies, or even Terrifier. You know, you just follow a guy who's just like doing horrible things, but it's, you know, it's a movie. This thing, it doesn't feel like a movie at all. It feels like you're living in the society, because like when the guy's looking at you, right? Right, when the sorry, let me go back to this. So when you see this kid looking at you, he's looking at you, right? He's looking directly at the camera, because you're like the one who's like you're part of the people, part of one of the people that are watching this world. And it's crazy. And I felt like this is like, I don't think anybody could actually make a modern movie like this, right? Let me just find, where are we? Where's green? There we go. Like, so every scene, every shot is wet and grimy and muddy and disgusting. That's why you got to experience. It's like you're experiencing this life, this environment, this world that they live in, right? That you're actually part of it. You're not a bystander. You're actually in it, which is what makes it so bizarre, right? And it's just like, how do they go around, be able to make this way, right? I mean, back then in the 1960s. Oh yeah, so to get this, it's so expensive right now because it's hard to get on. Check it out. Must have been a limited edition Blu-ray to be able to get it to watch.
What is it that makes me say?
I was, of course, able to find a copy online to watch it, to experience it, right? But there's another movie out there called Andrei. Where is it? See, Andrei Rublev. That pretty much comes. That comes kind of close to this. So look, it's here. It's by put out. It's actually on YouTube that you can watch. And it is that's the name of it, actually. Andrei Rublev. It's about a guy in I think it's 1800s or something like that. No, 1600s. Let me just find the info on it, and we can watch a trailer of that before I go forward here, so you get an idea. It's another movie made in the 1960s, Russia. It's crazy. It's like these people like were able to do so much with such little technology. It's like, okay, here's a camera, put in front of, here's a light, here's a camera, let's start rolling. Compared to what people we're able to do with film now, right? Cinematography, with technology, CGI, all that. These guys just pointed a camera at sets and actors and said, go for it, right? So no special, okay, we're missing this here, let's fix that, and we'll fix that in post. This is from 1966, man. This is like this whole idea where we are with modern filmmaking is crazy compared to what they were able to do back then.
Все-то она родная терпит. Все вытерпит. Долго так еще будет.
All right, set in 15th century.
Делается. За грехи наши и зло человеческий облик принял. Бог-то простит, только ты себе не прощай.
This is the next one on my to watch list. Oh, by the way, I saw Stalker as part of our film studies at film school, right? Back in 2004, I think it was. That's like about 20 odd years ago. And Solaris, of course, they do have a modern version of Solaris, if I remember right. And who was that? Who was in that Solaris remake? Yeah, so there's like a 2002 with George Clooney. The original was in 1972. And then there was another one, I'm sorry, 1968, right, with Vasily Lanovoy. And then there's also, so there's been 3 kind of remakes of this. And we'll watch a bit of the, since we're here on the Russian, film experience, I guess. We'll have a look at Solaris next, because it just amazes me how, without so much technology back in the 60s, they were able to do so much more with filmmaking, with cinematography, with the amount of, the little amount of technology that they had, they were able to bring out such magic, right, in cinema. Now I'm going to go to Solaris, and we're going to have a look at Andre's Solaris, right? And this is from 1972. And we'll get back to how to be a god and hard to be a god in a second. But just look at what they were able to do with such, such a, yeah.
At precisely 1900 hours, I entered the cabin of the spacecraft and settled back for liftoff.
Ready, Kelvin?
Ready.
Good luck.
Donatas Banionis, Vladislav Dvorzhetsky, Natalia Bondarchuk play the leading roles in Solaris. The scene is somewhere in the cosmos. The time, the distant future. The place, a planet yet unknown to us. Based on the novel by Stanislav Lem.
Chris, I'm not Carrie.
I don't care.
Carrie doesn't exist. She is dead. Accept it, Kelvin, or you are lost.
let us take you with us to Solaris, planet of mystery, embodiment of man's latent conflict with the unknown. Man, face to face with his conscience and with his past. Directed by Andrei Tarkovsky, who gave us the classic film Andrei Rublev. A Studio Mosfilm production.
Greetings, my friend. We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. And remember, my friend, future events such as these will affect you in the future. You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Welcome, Tim. And he left. I introduce you and then you leave. That's a great way to show
All
up on
right,
a
sorry,
stream.
I hit the wrong button. That was all my fault. I was totally asleep.
Wait, you were asleep? So what? You're dreaming now?
No, I was. I woke up and I realized, oh shoot, he's streaming today. I thought I was like, oh wait, I gotta.
Well, today is all about Russian TV and YouTube movies. What do you think?
Oh yeah,
yeah. So recently we've had like two really, prominent YouTubers making movies, right? There's actually three of them, but there's two that I've seen so far. So I'm going to comment on those two because I can't comment on something I haven't watched, right? But also at the moment we're talking about this crazy ass movie I saw from that started being made in 1966 but didn't finish until 2013, 6 years after the guy the director had passed away.
right.
And it's crazy. Like imagine like writing a story or something or film, like in this case, right? And after you passed, then it comes out after your friends and family have put it together and said, okay, we have to make sure this movie goes out as because a family member and this great director worked his 30 years of his life on it, right? So have you ever heard of a movie called Hard to Be a God, Tim?
No.
It is one of the craziest movies you will ever have seen. That isn't horror, that isn't like a story, right? Like
right.
A to Z of a story. Like it's a film. It's like if you watch it as a modern with the idea that this is what a story is with a modern viewer, you'll be going, what the hell is this, right? It took me 3 watches, dude, to get through this movie this past week.
Is it like Lost Highway kind of weird?
I think so. I'm trying to remember what Lost Highway was like, but it's about a guy who in the distant future, a space traveler from Earth breaks a special law and interferes with the history of another medieval-like planet. So the entire place he goes to, it's set in the world that this planet is actually like what you would imagine the medieval times to be like, just utter drudgery and grime and piss, sweat, shit, dirt, mud, decomposing bodies, and like just everywhere. Kind of like modern South Africa.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'll show you a bit of that in a minute. Why I say it's like modern South Africa. But actually, I think it was Nigeria or something.
I've never been to that part of the world, so I wouldn't know. But if it's like poverty everywhere, then I can imagine.
Well, it's not about poverty; it's about how people treat the environment. So this is a video I saw today from the Congo. So this dude made a video. I think it's Japanese, but this is called Jakarta KRL Mania Jakarta Channel Official, right? And they put out a front view of a train that they got on board this week or something, right? Last couple of days. Doesn't say, I can't really read this because I think it's in Japanese, but oh, here we go, translation, right? So I think it was just this week that they went and put in. So there's like the thefts, attacks, and murders by street children are expected, as are attacks by Kuma armed gangs, violent incidents such as extortion and robbery, as well as cases where police or military are on the side of the perpetrators, are not uncommon. The risk is even higher in densely populated residential areas and impoverished areas, especially in the early morning, at night, and even during the day. So in January 2025, Kinshasa experienced large-scale anti-government demonstrations. So this is like this year, right? I think this is like, this is like just this month. Actually, 7 days ago, sorry. Yeah, 7 days ago, they put this out, right? It's already been viewed by 1.5 million people, bro. So I'm going to do like a fast, speed through. Otherwise, it's going to take us forever. But check out. This is modern day Congo, right? Modern day Congo, bro, on a railway bridge. On a railway line. And this is why I say it's like, this is what this other movie feels like. It's like Africa now, right? So check this out. I'm going to leave the sound off, but because it's going to sound weird, and we'll talk over it. So here they are, right? This daytime going down the tracks. As you can see, people running across it, right? Oncoming train, not even waiting for the train to go past. No, they got to run across it. As you can see, rubbish everywhere, bro. Actually, that's a bit too fast. Let me slow it down a bit. 5.
I can see it.
Yeah, but look at all the rubbish everywhere. This is people's residential homes, right? So just over the friggin' concrete fence, they just chuck the rubbish over. And here's the thing about culture, right? If this is how you live in your own country, this is how you're going to treat the country you go to as a guest, right? And I've noticed this in New Zealand a lot recently in the last 10 years, that we have more rubbish on our streets than we had before, right? Because we were brought up to keep New Zealand tidy. I actually have a t-shirt right now. I didn't expect to be wearing it, but didn't plan it, but it's got Keep New Zealand Beautiful. It's like a special t-shirt we used to make up in the 80s and 90s, and as like a promotion.
New Zealand doesn't have like city workers that clean the streets.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, not to that extent, right? Because most people are known, there's rubbish bins everywhere, right? So that you put your rubbish in the bin. However, in the last 10 to 15 years, I've noticed that people don't really bother with that. Even though it's there, we do have like people walking around, meter maids and stuff like that. Sometimes people just don't even bother to put in the rubbish bin, and they just drop it as they walk past, bro. It's one of the things that really disgusts me about modern New Zealand is the way that new immigrants and this so-called Gen Z treat it, because they have no love for the environment or love for the place that they've come to, right?
Well, because and unfortunately, I think Gen Z is a product of millennials, which millennials are a product of Gen X, which Gen X are a product of, so forth and so on. So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to show you this, right? So this is this is a t-shirt I'm actually wearing, this design on this. And right here goes Keep New Zealand Beautiful, right? You can see this beautiful, that's on my t-shirt right now, really huge on my black t-shirt. And so the idea was that you would keep, you'd have cleanup weeks. We have people here that we, this is like a community event, right? You go around and you clean up and you keep, so that you can keep New Zealand beautiful, that you keep your town and your area, your community beautiful. And so, you got a cleanup week. in September that you actually go around, pick up all the rubbish and stuff. And this happens in my community, in my city, you know. But the fact is, why do we need this? And that's because people are lazy and don't give a shit about the country they live in anymore.
They
Right?
take what they have for granted.
Right. And then when you got newcomers who come from places that look like this, right? Who have their whole life has been to experience this sort of environment, how will they know any, you know, how will they live in a country where it's meant to be clean all the time? That the idea is that you keep New Zealand beautiful, that your streets are clean, that you put your rubbish in the bin. When they're in their own home country, they just throw it over the fence. Right? And it gets worse, bro. This is just like, look, burning out, you know, burning the rubbish behind their house, right? All of this is just sad, bro. And this is the countries that come from, right? Just look at it.
Until they implement something similar to what your country has, they're not going to know any better.
Yeah, but that's because, and they won't. You know why? Because they're happy with this lifestyle. Otherwise,
they're
they'll be
used
out
to
there
it.
cleaning up. That's the one.
They're-
That's what I meant. Like they're
They're
used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For them, that's just how it is.
Yeah. And I find it like, how do you, and this is the thing about like these different countries, because it's their culture, it's their education. They are kind of like taught to live like this and be happy with it, right? I'm having at this moment, I'm actually having an argument. Well, I'm not trying to have an argument, but people on Twitter are having an argument with me because I commented on the fact that there are people that are propagandizing the West because of China. They're like, oh, China, you know, China lets you keep games and pass it on to your, you know, like registration down to your family members. And I'm like, well, don't buy into it, because yeah, that might be great because they want to win you over, you gamers from the West, you know, you pop culture enthusiasts. But you know, they're not even, their properties get like, people can't even own their centuries old homes if they need to put a road through it, right?
Yeah.
They'll just drop it down. So, and like, that's one of the biggest things right now. And people are coming on to my, there was one person who didn't like that, me saying that, and they came onto my post about the comics we've been put out, and had to go out of their way, right, to like try to tell me that, like, hey, you know, had to come out, and here's look, CCP agent, right, communist propaganda, yeah, to come out and go, oh, looks like shit. And I'm like, wait, so you came over here from the argument about the, you know, the post about the CCC propaganda to go on about my comic book looking like crap. It's like, bro, there's two images there. What are you talking about? But this is
Reddit.
It's not even for, you know, I never read it, bro. This is how the trolls are, right? But couldn't respond to it. So, and the other thing was when I put it out, and you know, these guys are so freaking propagandized about things that they were just, oh, you know, there's one, you know, they go, oh, there's one house. They were going about like how there's people that like will spite the government and not let them tear down the house, because it got to the point about like, oh, you know, people will still stand up in China. And I'm like, 1 in 1,000. 1 in 1,000. Look, oh, it's just this one here. Yeah, that's probably because he's a rich person, right? Look at how rich that house looks. It's a mansion. You know, yeah. But look at everyone.
It looked like it was cut and pasted in.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, that anybody could friggin' fake this, right? Here's 4 more, right? And this guy here he's living in, supposedly living in Canada, but he loves being in, you know, talking about propaganda from China. It's like, why don't you go live there then, right? Oh, look, it's this one. Oh, okay, but yeah, and What does that mean? Is it, well, it's still there.
That
Okay,
could be
but here's
anything. I don't even know if that's an apartment building. That could be anything.
yeah, and look at how great it's from Alamy. So it's look at how graded it is, right? Pixelated and stuff. But they're fighting with me about this. It's like, dude,
You should just say You should just say Timu, and I'm done. Mic drop. If China was so great, how come everything you get off Timu is cheap pieces of garbage?
well, not only that, but now they got to go and look at Epstein Island responses. They're so gullible. Like
Did you say what the hell is that? What the hell does that have to do with China?
Exactly. But this is the way it is. It's like these people, like they're so. Yeah, this was my thing, right? So this was my post about this, right? So I had to come with this. So it goes: Chinese courts have ruled that gaming accounts, in-game items, and digital purchases can be passed on to family after death, setting a major legal precedent for digital ownership. The decisions come from several court cases over the years, with judges ruling that these digital assets have real value and should be treated like other property. In one recent case, a mother was allowed to inherit her late son's 87 gaming accounts. Wow, it's 87 gaming accounts?
Not that a judge has the rule that they could pass it on, says everything you need to say. You know?
Yeah, but the other thing about here is that China fakes everything, right? And to actually go to court in China, you have to be very rich, like really, really rich, bro.
Well, my point is that since like if I die, they can just have whatever I have without having to go to the courts.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You got to fight for it. Like the fact that you got to fight for it is weird, right? And the courts also
means it's not free,
right?
Yeah,
and you got to spend your money to fight for it as well, just for the gaming accounts, right? Digital gaming accounts, because this is about digital assets, not real assets, but digital assets. Because you know that right now PS5 or is it Sony wants to only do like stream games, not actually have physical games.
I was thinking about that, and I was like, wait, Xbox already kind of does that with their Xbox One.
But this is like promotion of digital, right? So, and it's a fight. Like, oh, look, the West is like doing like this whole streaming thing and digital thing, and you don't get to own it. Yeah, I agree. You know, I understand that, and I've been saying that for the last 3 years that this is coming, and that you guys should push back against it. You know, and that gamers should stop, you know, letting the companies get away with just saying, well, we're not going to produce physical goods. Well, if you can't own it, and if it's not real, then why don't you guys fight against it and make physical videos?
The game system though real? That's the thing I was thinking about too.
Yeah,
the
but
game
they can
system itself is real.
Well, the console is real, right? But the games itself is just digital code. But the thing is, they can turn off that digital code whenever they want.
That's true. That's also very true.
Yeah. So the courts also rule that that platforms' terms of service cannot automatically block inheritance if the law permits it. However, personal data such as private messages and chat history remain protected and not included. This is about gaming because these people want to say, well, we have these rules about gaming, but when it comes to real human lives, they don't have a real human lives protection like this. All your private chat is actually read by the CCP and by the police, the internet police in China. So if you have like something you want to keep private to you and your loved ones, they can read it. Yeah. So my response was, in a country where they can bulldoze your home without compensation or your own approval or say so, I wouldn't trust anything the CCP says, right? CCP says, no matter what the topic. Westerners are too easily swayed by small victories while the entire battle is destroying Chinese lives, right? And here, I didn't say American lives. I didn't say Western lives. I said Chinese lives. It's destroying Chinese lives, right? So then every, people start going on about, oh, this one here, or this dude, you're such a brainwash tool. The picture shows the demolition notice for the, seek with the compensation price of thing and one. Right, okay. So he's talking about like this shows it. I was like, oh yeah. Keep believing your own propaganda. It won't. It won't show the. I effed up there. It's not the fact. It isn't the facts, right? Look, like how many died the past week during the floods and dam collapses. Was it 29 people or was it 129,000? Right. So right now in China, right, there was a huge dam that collapsed, like 3 of them, right?
Right.
Where entire villages and towns were wiped out. So I'm just gonna go there just to because we kind of like segued out this way. So I want to show you what's actually happened in China this past week. It's one of the saddest things that's happened, bro, and it's all the CCP's fault. All right, you can have weather, but you plan for terrible weather, right? You make sure the structure, infrastructure, your drainage, everything is done to be able to handle that sort of weather, right? But sadly, China builds fast, and they don't build smart.
No,
See,
they build cheaply.
Right. And everybody's, they're going about how like the West, it takes so long to build something. And it's taken 3 years, it's taken 10 years to build this.
Follow the code, building inspection.
But those same things last, bro, for decades, right? In the West. However, if it's Chinese built, and Asia knows this really well because they have faced I think it was in Singapore or Thailand last year, where the only building that crashed during the earthquake and came down flat was China built. All right, it was a China built project. This condominium, and every other one was standing. So last week or last couple of days, a dam collapsed, and because it was made of like soil and shit and concrete and wasn't reinforced, and it wiped out villages, bro. So I'm going to play this video. It might be a bit loud, but this is the misery of living under communism that Westerners and pro-China people never will understand.
Everything has been washed away. This was everything I worked so hard for. These are my child's clothes. Now my child doesn't even have clothes to wear. I've always tried to stay strong, but now my hands are shaking. I can't even hold on anymore. A devastating flood struck Liulan Reservoir in Hangzhou, Guangxi. The Liulan Reservoir in Hangzhou, Guangxi failed, leaving widespread destruction. On July 8th, residents returned to their homes after the floodwaters receded, only to find scenes.
This is what Chinese propaganda can't hide, bro. Right? This real imagery, right?
I've always said that. Yeah, China's trying to be part of the whole world economy, but they're still communists.
Oh yeah. They want to rule the economy, but they can't even look after their own people. Like, look at this, man. And this is a fault of their own because they think that nature has no place and that man over nature, right? They think man can conquer nature. But there are elements to how natural waterways work, right? How river systems work. And if you block that riverway by putting up a dam, when that river, when the dam busts, you wipe out all the natural elements downstream. And these guys actually knew 2 hours before that the dam was going to break, and they didn't even give the warning to the people downstream, and then just let it loose, just let the water go out, and it busted down.
I mean,
and this is just this is only one area, bro. This is only one village. There's like tens of villages like this.
Of devastation. Mud covered the floors up to their ankles. Almost all of the furniture had been swept away, and watermarks could still be seen on the walls and rooftops. One woman, crying as she surveyed the damage, said the coffin she had prepared for her grandparents more than 10 years ago had been completely ruined by the flood. A rescued elderly resident said he had gone hungry for more than 2 days.
This is rooftop, bro. This is a roof. This is the roof of the house.
Trembling uncontrollably, he said,
There's nothing to eat. We don't even have water.
near Liulan Reservoir, one of the hardest hit areas, entire villages were flattened. Not even bricks were left behind. Standing on the ruins, one villager told reporters,
There used to be more than 20 families living here. They all had 2-story and 3-story houses. It wasn't like this before. Now everything is gone. My younger cousin was supposed to get married this year. The house had already been fully built, but now everything is gone.
On July 8th, a reporter from Yangcheng.
Bro, look at that. And these pro fucking Chinese propagandists will go, oh, you know, China, they build so fast, they're so advanced. It's like, this is what happens when you build so fast.
No, they build cheaply. Everything they have is a cheap knockoff of something else.
They had $1 billion dam that broke within about a month of going live, right? What is it like? Hold on. What was it? I've got it here somewhere. What is it called? I think they said like it was like a one. Gosh, where are you, you silly thing? I think it was like within a month of it. Within a month of it, it fell apart. Like $1 billion fucking dam, bro. $1 billion dam.
It just goes to show, just because you spend a lot of money on something doesn't mean it's the best thing ever.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, in New Zealand, in my city, they had Chinese built. They was it they outside contracted this bridge, and it failed. So yeah, it failed. It warped. The bridge warped, right? Because they went for the cheaper option rather than actually going for the locals to build it. They went for the cheaper option, and it failed. So now they got to spend more money. And this is what happens when you have Chinese built shit, because then you got to pay twice, right? To fix it.
Evening News interviewed a villager who had walked down the mountain from Zhenglong Township to escape the disaster. She had just given.
This is downstream of a dam that busted in China. Right?
Right.
They didn't even give people time to escape. Like, they didn't even warn people to escape. People realized it was coming, and it's like they got like a late, they got late warning, and by that time it was already coming down. They had, they had to run off into the hills. They didn't even have time to take food with them, bro. So now they're starving in the hills.
Birth over 1 month earlier and was still shaken by what happened. Breaking down in tears, she said, "We were just a little bit away from losing our lives. I was at the Fengdan Village Committee at the time. My baby's only 30 days old. When asked whether her house was still standing, she said the house had been washed away, her car was gone, and now she had nothing left."
And this is from this past week. Yeah. This is from this past week. It's not like the same thing that happened last year, because you think like this happened. When I was doing my stream, I think about a year ago, I was talking about that on that stream, on the Zeo Monkey stream, right, on that channel. And I stopped talking about it because I was like, there's so much misery. I don't want to talk about all this misery, right, in China. And then because I'd spent 2 years like just studying China and stuff and looking at what was going on there. And then I was like, I just can't handle this anymore. So I just stopped talking about it, right? And now, a year later, we're back to this again. And here we are seeing the same misery for these people that are living in China, having to deal with
people. I bet those pro-Chinese people have never even been to China.
Yeah, well, the guy who's like, oh, he's in Canada, right?
Yeah.
He's in Canada, flying the Canada flag and like promoting China. It's like, bro, can you ask why China just gave like something like about $30 million worth of aid to Venezuela just last week? No, just this week, and hasn't even provided aid to their own people? Like this mother who's stuck on a mountain and can't get food for her baby.
Survivor said,
现在我村有困有30多个人在家里。
There are still more than 30 people trapped in their homes in our village. Most of them are elderly. This morning, it took me 4 hours to walk out. There was no phone signal, no electricity, and no food. We were up in the mountains, so we ate whatever we could find. Now that the water has gone down, these people should be the ones who managed to escape from the mountains. Thankfully, they are still alive. Everyone is still here.
Another resident said,
For drinking water, we can only rely on rainwater. Supplies are extremely limited. Our food is basically gone. Normally, we cook rice into porridge so it can last a few more days. If we have vegetables growing at home, we can pick some and eat them to get by. But if this continues, there will be nothing left. There are
Now, last year when I was doing my video, like when I did the live stream, right, I might share it later on that whole, because it was about Laos and what they did to Laos, right, when their Chinese-built dam in Laos failed and wiped out the Laotian people and their villages just like this. So wherever China builds, expect this, right? Wherever China builds dams, you know, structures and stuff, expect it to fall down within a couple of years, if not within a month. You were saying?
Freaking, I said Timu buildings. They're freaking Timu.
Yeah. So, but look, what happens with mud like this is that it wipes off the topsoil and carries all the topsoil away, which is the soil you need to do planting, right? To grow seeds and stuff. If you've seen my short videos, you'll see that, like, on my short videos, I show myself planting seeds and growing plants, flowers, vegetables, right? Berries, silkweed for my monarch butterflies, because I like to raise them, right, on my balcony. I only have a little couple, like about maybe, I don't know, maybe about 7 meters of space to grow anything on. So I have all these huge pot plants that I grow stuff on, right? And and I show you little videos, short clips of that on this channel. And I know what it takes to plant stuff. So I'm not like talking out of my butt. And I'm a farmer's child, right? I grew up on a farm in Fiji, and even my family home in New Zealand, my parents have like an orchard out the back of the house, or like a quarter-acre thing, right? It's just full of plants, berries, grapes, avocados, plum, tomatoes, vegetables, oranges, mandarin trees. So we have always come from that background of like actually growing stuff. And so what happens when you see this is terrible, because it means you got to bulldoze all this out of the way before you can reach the ground. And these are like, you'll see soon, these are like actual 1-story to 2-story mud, right, on top of this land that's now devastated, and it's going to take so much effort to clean up so that you can go back to growing plants.
There are still elderly people and children in many families, and they cannot leave. There's definitely no meat left. The livestock and poultry we raised were all washed away by the flood.
At an event,
this is their entire livelihoods gone. So your pro-China propaganda shit doesn't mean shit to these people who have to live without food, have to live without their homes, have to live without their cars, have to live without actually being able to grow their own food to eat. Now they have to rely upon social services, which there's hardly much of in China, right? And you're left to your own, and it all is about status. Do you have what's your social credit? All right, are you on the low end? Well, you're only going to get this much. But look, check this out. So all this stuff here about these guys coming in, they're red. This is all propaganda. You'll find out as we play this that it's all about just showing people that we're doing something, but they're really not. It's all about media coverage, right? A false face to the world.
Evacuation center. Many survivors, overwhelmed with hunger, began rushing to grab supplies. Rescue workers shouted.
There is enough for everyone. Don't fight over it. Everyone, don't rush. Don't take so many instant noodles at once. There are still many people inside. Many people still haven't been able to get out. There are still many people in the mountains. Many of them have nothing to eat. Some have already gone hungry for a full day and night.
A villager who returned home pointed to a house and said,
这个家是我的。
"This is my home. Look at it. Outside, everything's a mess. It's all ruins." Some people online commented, "The fact that the house is still standing is already a blessing in disguise." Another person wrote, "It's a mess, but at least it can be cleaned up and people can move back in. Some families don't even have a house anymore. They lost everything. All they have is themselves."
See, this is what I mean about like the food, vegetation, right? The plantation with the vegetables, the corn, it's all wiped out. This is like entire season of crop is wiped out. And the thing about this is that what happens with this is that how do you feed people, right? If your entire crop for that season is gone. And so you have to import it. And where they're going to import it from? South America, right? From Venezuela. That's why they've got to keep the South Americans happy. China has to keep making sure that their plantations, their factories, their food source in South America continues to come, because in China, they don't have anything now, to a certain degree in this area. So where's the food going to come to feed these people from? Whatever was there is going to be gone pretty soon, right? The guy goes, "Oh, we got enough for everybody." Yeah. What are you gonna? What happens when that's already gone, right? So you got the car here, man. Like that's somebody's family car just gone because of the water, damaged.
At the same time, during the disaster, CP mouthpiece People's Daily published another round of what critics called a staged performance.
This is what I was talking about, like with the stage performances, like the whole media. Hey, this is the propaganda shit. This is what this is, right? Because look at all these people's homes, right? All their stores, all their merchandise, everything that earns them a living, it's gone at this stage, right? Their cars, their vehicles to get you to school, get the kids to school, get you to work, gone, upside down, damaged, crushed.
Villagers said that when disasters happen, officials stay far away, but once the disaster is over, they work harder than anyone else to put on a show. They said it was like rubbing salt into the wounds. However, they added that people can see through what's happening. Many people commented, "It's staged. You can tell it's staged. They never miss any disaster to promote themselves and take credit. It's disgusting." In another video, a group of rescue personnel were seen running into formation while carrying shields. Some people questioned why rescue teams would bring riot shields during flood relief operations. They asked, can those shields be used as rescue boats? Comments included, "Everyone knows what those protective gear are really meant for." Another person wrote, "They're probably there to suppress the victims and stop them from telling the truth." Others said, "They're preparing for unrest. They're not there to save people." On July 9th, a mainland...
Bro, look at that. Look at how high that water went to.
That looks like it's barely even standing up.
Yeah. Look at on the side there. The wall has just been crushed, like just been pushed out because of the weight of the water. Like the trees, look at the branches wrapped around that concrete wall. Like this is all the roots and stuff, right? Look at that little, and like there's the motorbike right there, and look at how big that is, small that is compared to this house, right? 3-story house.
Yeah.
Vlogger visited Liulan village, located downstream from the dam. The footage showed that more than half of the homes had been destroyed, leaving many families with little or nothing left. The vlogger said that the Liulan Dam failed on the morning of July 6. The floodwaters only began to slowly recede that evening. Villagers who fled gradually returned, while those who had taken shelter upstairs also came back down.
Bro, look at that. Look at how high that is. It's gone up. Yeah, it's reached to the top of that. This first story there?
Yeah.
Fridges, cabinets.
But after the flood, the vlogger estimated that at least half of the houses had been destroyed. Many residents broke down in tears when they returned and found their homes gone. Some villagers were seen carrying simple belongings and leaving the village, apparently heading to stay with relatives or friends. According to villagers, at around 7 or 8 that morning, village officials informed them that the dam was overflowing.
Okay, so this is what I want to talk about, right? You know, at the start of this, I said how it's made of mud, right, and some concrete. This is Timu dam making in Laos, right? They did that fell apart and killed so many people. People are still missing, right? Hundreds of villages homes were wiped out, and I think there was about around 50 that were dead because of that Chinese Timu made dam.
Yeah.
Right? But here, look at this. It's just mud, bro. It's just clay, bro. Like with the facade of concrete on top, to say, hey, look, it's actually made out of concrete. This is a fucking dam, bro. We have a dam in my childhood home, right, in New Zealand, right? Just behind it. I used to go there in the weekends on a Saturday or a Sunday just to go. You know, I'm a very when I was younger, I'm a very outgoing person. I was just like, you know, nothing to do in a little rural town, right? So you just go off out the back, in the creeks, in the rivers, go for walks. So we actually have a huge dam. Let me see if I can find a picture of it here. I think it's Morewa River Dam. Is that the one? Yeah, I think this is it here. So look at this, right? So this is the dam behind our house that has been standing since well, I don't know when it was built, but I know I was there in 1980s, right? Hold on, sorry, get you a larger image here. And this is what our dam behind our little rural village looks like, right? Little township. This is a New Zealand built. I can't remember what year this was built in. I'll get some more information on this, right? But this is from like 6 years ago, right? But this is, hopefully this is the right one. Where actually, let me make sure I've got the right one. Whereas, because I don't want to get the wrong information about this dam, because this is, you know, it's been about 30 years since I've actually walked that dam, right? Walked up there and had a look out from the top. So where in New Zealand is manga? It's spelled it's Mawafango. Mawafango is the name of it, right? Maori name of it. This is a dam. So this dam, if I remember right, was built in like it's part of a power scheme. Is it the one? It is. Taihape. Is this the one? And formerly known as. Because it's up there behind our house, right? And you'd be like, oh man, what happens if it breaks down and it's going to flood out valley? Nobody's ever said that. In all my, like, since 1980s of living there, nobody's ever said that. Okay, yeah. So, nope, this isn't the one, but like, okay, so that isn't it. So let me get the right one. I thought it was kind of felt like a bit off to me. Where are we? Hold on, buddy. They keep giving me the same one, but it gives you an example of New Zealand dam compared to that one. But I want to actually, also known as Morewa Dam, right? So Bay of Islands. Where are you? Give me the proper friggin'. Is that the one? hold on. Can I'm just trying to get the photo here, guys, because it's important to note that these things were built in New Zealand in the 60s and they still stand, right? Yet $1 billion dam built in China fell apart in a month.
There's some things you should never take shortcuts on. I mean, comic books is one thing, but a dam is completely another thing. You should never take shortcuts on a dam.
Yeah.
You should give a damn about building a good dam.
Right, especially, bro, when you have people's lives down, down the valley from it. So the history of the dam, the Waterwood Dam was built in 1960. Started in 1960, early 70s. Construction mainly 1972 to 74. This is in New Zealand, a little town in little city, whatever, in New Zealand, a little place like New Zealand, that we've had a dam that we built in the 1970s, right? That still stands, right? And it was built to provide water for the meat processing plant, right? That's all it was built for. So it's similar to this, but it's not this one here I've got on screen. The one I'm trying to find isn't, they're not showing it. I don't know why. And I don't want to use AI bullshit to do that. But let me see if I can find it through FGO. Right. So this is the FGO meat processing. We supply the world with meat, right? If you ever see this symbol, right, New Zealand meat, you know it's coming from our country and it's good shit. We're very, 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 very protective of our quality when it comes to providing the world with meat, lamb and pork, lamb and beef, right? Now, where is this stupid image of this dam, which is really pissing me off because I can't remember the actual name of it. Motor. Let's see if we can just go Motor Dam. And the reason I'm trying to bring this up is because of the fact that $1 billion dam in China fell apart after a month, right? After a month. These are what our dams look like, right? But they don't look like what I'm going to show you when they're built in China, right? This is what our dams look like. Hardcore concrete, right? Set up to let overflow out slowly, right?
Same with the U.S.
Yeah.
Let crying out loud. Yeah.
Let the water out slowly. This is in Otago, down south, a bit from where I am.
Does your dams have like a little ladder for fish to go through?
Yeah.
Ladder system? Yeah.
That's this one here, right? So there's fish, that's when they just flow down slowly. And then you got your overflow. But in China, this is what their dams look like because they build it fast, bro. They build it so fast.
Unfortunately, the town where I grew up was the end of the fish's journey. So there was, in our parks, there was always a lot of dead fish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so once a year, it smelled bad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at least, if you could collect all that up to make compost out of, right?
Probably could.
It'd be good.
But
it's good
we
for
didn't have that.
Yeah, I mean, like rotten fish and stuff like that is good for compost, for your soil.
You take your dog on a walk, they think it smells like heaven. Dogs.
So this is why I was showing you guys the concrete dams. This is Chinese built dams. Timu Dam.
Timu
And Chinese, yeah, Timu Dam. Like Chinese, pro-Chinese shills are so quick to say how quickly China builds stuff, how great structures that they have. But look, this is just mud with a facade with what looks like probably about 20 centimeters or something of concrete on top, 30 centimeters, give or take, right? Just on top. This is like icing on a cake, on a chocolate cake, right? Or a vanilla cake, just icing on top. This is how they build dams in China, bro. Would you trust your government if this is how they build dams?
You can't eat the frosting if it's a shit cake.
Exactly.
Flowing and could collapse at any moment. But within only about 10 minutes.
Look at that. That's grass growing on top. Nothing there. There's no rocks. No huge boulders, bro. Right? To actually stop the soil from flowing away. And this is just concrete that was over here. That's where that's off. And you might think, oh, look, there's boulders in here. No, that's a concrete slab that was sitting on top to make it look like it was all concrete all the way through.
Floodwaters rushed in and reached the second floors of the homes. Some villagers reacted quickly and escaped with their families to the mountains. But many others, especially elderly and children, could not get away in time. They climbed onto the rooftops of taller buildings for safety. One rooftop was reportedly crowded with more than 40 people. Many others were swept away by the floodwaters, with their chances of survival unknown. One female villager said she was among the lucky ones because all of her family members are still alive. She said many families were still searching for relatives who had been washed away. Liulan village is...
So the state media TV, right, basically said, oh, in this village there was 29 dead, in this one there was 9 dead. But the lady's saying they haven't found people that are washed away. So how do they know that those people aren't dead already? And the fact is, the force of this water is just wiping people away, and not to mention children, animals, babies, right? They found a baby in a basin, right, that was flowing down the river. That's people were grabbed, and they don't even know whose baby it is, because they don't know who the baby belongs to, because they don't even know who the family is, and the family's gone, right? And this is what, like, Chinese propagandists don't understand. That, like, a year ago I expected this to fail, like these dams to fail, because I saw how they build. I know how they build. They build fast, and it's full of corruption every stage of the way. If it's $1 billion dam, it only spent like $500 million on it, because $500 million, the rest of it is gone into people's pockets, because it's always cheaply built. Just like in friggin' Venezuela right now, they found that the concretes that was concrete homes that were built by Chinese contractors in Venezuela didn't even have rebars in them. The metal, hardcore iron metal that's supposed to hold the concrete together in the structure, it was just concrete on concrete on concrete. Nothing there. In New Zealand, if you do that, well, you won't even think about doing that, because there's so much safety and legislation there that makes it impossible for you to get away with doing shit like that. That you would lose your business if you did shit like that. A couple of years ago in New Zealand, they had leaky homes, and they just went after every person that did that. Like every company that was doing that. It was really bad, because they had these contractors that were building cheap homes in New Zealand. I think it was about 2000s, I think. Let me play this video, and I'll get some information on that.
It's located below Liulan Reservoir. After the dam failure, the flood surge destroyed the village before continuing downstream through multiple towns and villages, eventually affecting areas dozens of kilometers away, including Guigang City. The destruction seen in Liulan is believed to have been repeated in many communities along the flood path. The dam failure not only caused a massive flood disaster, but also triggered a series of secondary risks. Several local farms raising potentially dangerous animals were destroyed, causing further panic among the public. On July 7th, videos and photos circulating online showed crocodiles escaping from a local crocodile farm. Multiple crocodiles could be seen swimming through the floodwaters. However, local authorities quickly came forward to refute rumors, claiming that the footage was old material from another location that had been edited together and was unrelated to the actual flooding in Guangxi.
So what happens in China is that if there's something that's like, sounds crazy, the local government body will start saying, oh no, it's lies, it's something else, and then they'll all go out there and you'll see it's actually true, and they've been trying to control the narrative, right, in the news. And this is why a lot of idiots in the West think that whatever China says in the news is the real thing, because they're too happy to go, oh yeah, the West is all terrible, the West is horrible, it's horrible to live in the West, it's a terrible place to live in the West. Yeah, but have you actually seen how they control the news? Why we say communism is bad? So these guys are saying, oh wait, there's crocodiles from the farm that have escaped into the waterways. And by the way, remember earlier we said how like people actually were like washed away in the water? So the other side of the coin is, if you got crocodiles in the water and people are washed away in the water, what's the outcome of that? Food for the crocodiles, right?
But on July 8th, flood...
And that's why they got to go, oh, there's no crocodiles in the water, because then people go, that means that crocodiles are eating people or attacking people in the water and who are washed away in the water. So we don't know if those people are still, alive, and we don't know how many have died because of that.
Victims in Guangxi appeared to contradict the authorities. Videos and photos they posted showed police officers carrying firearms and shooting escaped crocodiles. At least 2 crocodiles were reportedly killed. One video showed police setting up a security cordon on a flooded village road. In the shallow water...
Oh, by the way, a private citizen in China isn't allowed to have guns. Just want to let you know that.
What?
Right? A private citizen in China is not allowed to own weapons or guns.
I figured.
Yeah. So to see him out here like this, he's an official, all right, ordained to be able to carry a pistol, a weapon, a firearm, because nobody else is. So nobody else can go out there shooting, these crocodiles. They have to get these officials to come out and shoot it.
Water beyond the barrier, a small boat can be seen with 2 people wearing life jackets. The person at the front was holding an assault rifle and watching the water ahead closely. Behind the barrier, another police officer in uniform was seen carrying an assault rifle. Another photo showed 2 large dead crocodiles lying on the road behind the security line. Many people mocked the authorities, saying rumors are just predictions that came true. This is the usual pattern. First they deny it, then they deal with it. When authorities from the CCP say something's a rumor, it's usually true. Before this, a large number of videos circulating online showed that a snake farm in Hangzhou had been destroyed by floodwaters, sending large numbers of venomous snakes into downstream villages. Chinese media also confirmed that someone had died after being bitten. Online reports even claimed that several tons of cobras had escaped. According to a report by Southern Weekly, many residents in Yunbiao, Hangzhou City, described terrifying encounters with snakes after the flooding. One villager said, "I came back this morning hoping to find something to eat, but I saw 1 white snake and 1 black snake. They looked like they were banded crates, which are probably venomous. I didn't dare to search anymore." Other villagers said, "The snakes have already gotten into our homes. When the flood came, snakes were swimming right by our feet. It was terrifying. They were all cobras." Videos circulating online showed many cobras moving through the floodwaters.
One thing that surprises me is like trying to hide the truth that like entire villages have been wiped out and you think that like, oh, it's not going to affect the farms, right? Where there's snake farms, right? Where people are farming snakes. Oh, it's not going to happen. Oh, it's not going to wipe those out and release those, into the wild, into the river, into the flood. Oh, it's not going to release the alligators into the waterways. Dude, if people are getting forced out of their homes and are getting chucked out into the flood, floating down the river, do you think animals aren't going to be doing that? Snakes aren't going to be doing that? It's so weird. It's like when you're trying to control the narrative, it's like, does not common sense work? But that's how it is, right? But the people in China are smart. They understand, right? They know that when the government says something, they don't believe it. But the West, the pro China Westerners, they're like, oh yeah, whatever the government says, the Chinese government says, that's what we should believe. It's like, what the fuck?
Those are overprivileged people that need to hate the U.S. and take it for granted where they live. They don't appreciate what they have.
Right. And they're always, like you said, they're privileged, right? They're left-leaning, privileged people who actually have so much privilege that they need to be angry about their own country doing something. Now, everybody's country has something, that isn't right or doesn't work. But to actually promote another country over your own country, you're an enemy. You're a traitor. All right. You should just go and live there if that's how much you love that country. Right. So don't sit in the West and say, oh, China's all this great. Just fucking move, bro. Go to China. Go live in China.
There was this guy on Facebook, and he's talking about, before you go celebrating the 4th of July, just remember, and it's all this, America killed your child. America did this. America did that. And I said, I left a comment. I said, so why don't you just shut the fuck up? You reap the benefit of living here, yet you hate it. Why don't you get a plane ticket and move somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean that's been my whole thing forever. It's like, if you don't like living somewhere, if you don't like the country you're in, you're welcome to get the fuck out. Like, go somewhere else, bro. Don't sit and like bitch about how terrible it is here. It's like when I hear Indians from India complain about New Zealand, like, just go back. Go the fuck back to India.
Funny thing that he mentions, like, well, when you don't have this, you don't have health insurance. I go, I get health insurance through my job, and he didn't say anything more after that.
Yeah. Compared to living in China, that's the last place I want to be living in, bro. Hell, I'll live in Fiji before I live in China. All right. And the thing is, like, even the people in Fiji are better off than people in China. People in the islands, in Pacific Islands, are better off than people living in China.
Some snakes tried to climb onto villagers' houses and were driven away after being spotted. Others had already entered homes and were hiding in corners. A woman in Yunbiao was reportedly bitten by a snake. Because she could not get medical treatment in time, she passed away. Another resident was bitten on the finger by a cobra while cleaning up garbage left behind by the flood. Faced with mounting evidence and repeated accounts from residents, local state media followed its usual pattern and first tried to refute rumors, claiming that the long objects seen in the water were just ostrich heads. Later, local authorities were forced to acknowledge that venomous snakes had escaped, but claimed that the number was only 900. A woman surnamed Huang, who works in the snake farming industry, told the media that Hangzhou has around 500 to 600 households involved in snake farming. She said Yunbiao town has the largest number of snake farms in the area. Huang said, basically, one household can raise between 3,000 to 5,000 snakes. After all, one person alone can take care of 3,000 snakes. Raising 1,000 snakes would actually be considered a relatively small operation. She said snake farms are usually surrounded by wire fencing to prevent escapes, but the floodwaters destroyed the farms, which is why so many snakes got out. After the snake problem emerged, local residents formed volunteer snake catching teams and went into the villages. On July 9th, Mr. Zhu, who is on one of these teams, told Beijing News that 7 to 8 team members had been working continuously for 2 days and had caught more than 3,000 snakes in total. In addition, on the day the reservoir dam failed, several villages downstream were almost completely destroyed. A resident of Nankang village posted in a chat group, "So many bodies were washed down here."
So this is what cracks me up about people promoting China on X, right? They can say whatever the fuck they want because it's an American-owned, Western platform. But check this out. The guy's saying, hey, there's so many bodies floating down the river, dead bodies everywhere, right? But look what happens.
Bodies were washed down here. After that, he was reportedly threatened and warned by local police. Now,
how's that? You can't post that there are people, that there's so many dead people here in Nankang village, right?
Yep.
They've been washed upstream, right? Their children and elderly people dead, missing. And then the authorities... Carry on.
Obviously, the Chinese have alternative ways of actually getting true information. It's probably how are they getting that?
Because they're sharing it amongst themselves. The citizens are sharing it amongst themselves.
Yeah,
right?
so they act like their own news alternative news source.
Yeah. But the problem is the internet is controlled. The chat is controlled. Anything in China is actually 100% controlled by China state police, right?
Yeah.
So, like I said, as soon as the post goes out, already you got someone, told, what is it like? They said, got a warning about posting, right?
bodies were washed down here. After that, he was reportedly threatened and warned by local police. Nankang village was one of the areas hardest after the dam failure. The flooding also caused the death of large numbers of pigs. On July 8th, multiple videos circulating online showed dead pigs floating in the water.
So if there's pigs dying in the water, don't you think there's people dying in the water? There's children in the water, babies in the water that have been washed out. This is what like the misery looks like that people don't even want to fucking talk about when it comes to the normal everyday citizen in China, right? Not the ones in power, just the normal everyday people have to suffer constantly. So I'm going to switch gears to, and the link's all there for this, right? It's right here. I always make sure to put the links out for it so you guys can watch the rest of it. But I want to show you this other, sorry, it was 10 billion, not 1 billion, it was 10 billion, right? So there's a $10 billion, and it's a dollar sign, not yuan, right? Yuans, which is like about 1/10. One yuans are like, sorry, $10 is like 1 yuan, right? So you've got a $10 billion dam, right? That collapsed after 1 month of being opened. This is why never trust the Chinese to build you anything, because they don't even build their own, right? They don't even build safe stuff for their own people, let alone for anybody else, right? So here we go. So this is a link there in the chat. So 1 month after, right? Look at the beautiful dams, $10 billion mega canal, right?
On July 7th, an online video showed a section of China's so-called Century Project.
By the way, today in New Zealand is like, I guess it's the 11th. So there was only 4 days ago, 2026, right? 4 days ago. This is on 7th of July.
The Pinglu Canal experiencing a riverbank collapse along the route from Henzhou City to Qingzhou Port in Guangxi. The footage showed a gap several meters long in the canal's flood control embankment and high slope.
Look at that, bro. Nothing underneath that concrete. Nothing. Right.
With water rushing through. Based on Chinese portal website NetEase, footage recorded on July 6 showed multiple sections of the Zhouzhou Qingsong section of the canal suffering collapses. Some videos showing slope collapses along the canal were also circulated on Douyin.
那刚修好的运河堤坝
The canal was just completed. Part of the flood control embankment has collapsed. The water looks a bit alarming. The problem is that the downstream area cannot drain the water out.
The uploader of this video specifically stated that the content was AI generated. However, the footage appears to be real recording. A commenter explained that videos could not be posted unless they were labeled as AI generated, saying the uploader had no choice due to strict platform censorship.
Did you see that? He can't say this is the actual material, this is the actual footage, because then he'll get in trouble. So he's got to say, oh, this is AI generated. So that's okay to post. But this is the actual footage, right? But he's got to to get past the censorship, he's got to say it's AI generated. That's what Westerners don't understand about China. It's all fucking controlled, right? Everything you hear coming out news-wise from China is controlled by the Chinese narrative police.
So, not to change the subject, are you done with the subject, or?
I'm gonna about 2 minutes of this, and then we're on back to the movies.
Okay, because I got something to talk about too. So,
all right, you can wait then.
Release, the footage quickly triggered public doubts over the quality of the Century project, which cost nearly 100 billion yuan. It's worth noting
10 billion American dollars.
Noting that the Pinglu Canal only announced the completion of full water flow on June 3rd and had just entered the water testing phase. It's a critical period now for checking the project's quality and preparing for trial operations in September. However, a major rainstorm triggered flooding, leading some to call it a quality inspection carried out by the heavens, while others joked that typhoons and heavy rain are the best inspectors. Unfortunately, as with many substandard projects in China, sections built with reduced construction standards were exposed after just one heavy rain. Overseas users commented on the incident. Xi Jinping's face has been badly embarrassed. A project costing over 100 billion yuan collapsed right after opening. The list of Xi's unfinished projects has gained another entry, the Pinglu Canal. The Pinglu Canal is a major feng shui project for Xi's attempt to change his fate against the will of heaven. It appears another large group of people may face investigations. A substandard project caused by human failures, Guangxi will pay a heavy price this time. If this had happened in ancient times, those responsible for building such a large project this way might have faced severe punishment extending to their families. Facing the growing public attention, Chinese Communist authorities quickly responded. On July 7th, Liu Ke, director of the Guangxi Department of Transport, said at a disaster response press conference.
This round of rainfall was the first major flood disaster the Pinglu Canal faced after the entire canal began carrying water. The entire flood control system withstood the test under extreme conditions. During the flood season, inspections were carried out across key areas, including canal hubs, high slopes, and cofferdams. Over 20 issues involving tributary inlets and localized embankment damage were addressed. The three major canal hubs and the main navigation structures remain intact, with the overall situation stable and under control. Next, we will accelerate repairs to the damaged sections, complete joint testing, and prepare for operations to ensure the Pinglu Canal
Imagine $10 billion to control nature, right? So the whole point about this was to save money and transportation of north to south of equipment, of goods, and so on, and to cut time. However, you cannot remove natural waterways and make man-built ones without actually understand how nature, abhors vacuums, right? So they thought they could control the waterways by building all these waterways without actually understanding, how everything works, because they want to build it fast. So $10 billion wasted with brainlets who, somebody called me a brainlet on Twitter before. The brainlets behind this project wasted $10 billion of Chinese funds into building a north to south canal that basically fell apart within a month after heavy rain. Now, we're going to segue away from this because it's depressing to see how China does not give a shit about its own people, but it wants to show the world that it's the greatest place to live, and it's perfect. It's like people from Congo, their backyards look like this, and we're supposed to expect that these people will change their ways when they come to the West. This is Congo, right? Africa, right? This is them. This is how they live. This is how they throw rubbish everywhere. And so you got all these immigrants coming from these places into the West, where we like to have a beautiful environment. We like to have our environment clean, our waterways clean. No, they just throw rubbish everywhere, right? Burn things everywhere. We've had people like in New Zealand, you got rules about when you can burn stuff, what you can burn. You can't burn this way, environment, because we care about environment. But this is Congo. Look at that. This is town, bro. This is a town, Tim. This is a town. Look, there's a factory. There's a mall here, right here. Right? But these guys are here happy to do, throw rubbish everywhere. Look, mud. Right? Shanties. This is a factory, right? This is a commercial area. Look at it. There's a restaurant. Look, people are eating food here, right? Commerce, doing business. This is what a third world looks like, and this is what New Zealand, the West, UK is starting to look like this. Definitely France and Europe, right? It's starting to look like this. In certain areas, certain townships, villages, they're starting to look like this. I saw one of the UK, Tim, where it was like a whole canal waterway was full of rubbish, and the guy got in trouble for trying to clean it up, because he wasn't officially an official meant to clean up that. So let us move on, and we'll have we're going to be talking about some about 2 movies by YouTubers that come out. And then we'll go on and look at some other stuff. Now, this is just from this week, by the way, right? This is this week from Congo. Look, this is actually a town with businesses here, right? Look at it.
Yeah, it does look kind of ghetto.
But this is actually I know these buildings because I've seen these buildings in Fiji, right? These are actually either like commercial buildings or factories or actual townships. So you got like sign here which says what? Hold up. It's in English, I think. Did I go back too far? No, I did go back too far, but it's coming up here. And yeah, business.
Get the picture. I mean, it looks like a shithole.
Yeah, it's business location. So like they're looking to build a building here for business location. But dude, like this is crazy. Like people are burning their rubbish here on the train tracks. And there's people selling food right next to it. Street food.
Oh, jeez. That's why you never eat the street food in any foreign country, I guess.
You never do it, bro. I don't even do that in Fiji. The only time I eat street food in Fiji is boiled corn. I love boiled corn and peanuts. Those are 2 things,
yeah?
because the only thing they're using in that is salt and water, right? It's the cheapest simplest roadside food you can eat, and they're really cool, man. It's like it's maize. It's not like our normal corn that you get, sweet corn. It's a special corn that they have that grows in Fiji called. It's kind of like a maize, and oh god, I love that boiled corn.
Cool.
Yeah, boiled corn is my favorite. Even like watermelon, I'm not so keen on watermelon, but I love boiled corn.
So
look,
yeah,
look at all these people, bro. All
Cracker,
right, so
bro.
what you got for us? You're cutting in and out, by the way.
It's a simple statement about now we all can agree that AI can be a tool and it should never be the finished product of anything that you make, right?
Right.
Yeah, you can do it for concept. I even use it to make ads for my books that are in stores. I mean, because I'm not an artist, so
yeah.
If I can make, if I could take it, I took designs for like you've used Juju Bits, which is a 3D printer company,
mm-hmm.
and when you upload a picture, it makes a preview design, right?
Right.
AI generated preview design. Now I made an ad using Grok. And put it on Facebook, and I get no one cares about your AI generated action figures. And I'm using it to advertise my books. And I got my book being sold at 2 locations.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like if people they don't comment unless they comment when they hate something, but they're not buying anything that they're advertising.
No.
So my point is, so I took down the ad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you're cutting in and out, dude. I'm not sure what's going on with your.
Well, somebody was talking to me. So anyway, I took down the ad and I reposted it and I said, I'm not interested in hearing your comment if you're not buying. That's not why I'm posting it. I'm not posting it for your opinion. I'm posting it to promote a product.
Yeah, a finished product, right?
Yeah, finished product, an actual product that somebody, that people worked on. So that's all I have to tell you is like people need to chill on that whole, I mean, if they're selling something that's purely AI generated and that's a finished product, I can understand that. But if it's just like an advertisement or a picture of a preview of what will be a figurine, they need to chill out with that and not just scream every time they see something like that.
Well, you're always going to get people screaming about everything, right away.
Yeah, but they're a little sensitive about the whole thing.
I just ignore it, bro. It's like at the end of the day, people are going to scream and argue and moan about everything, and I tend to not even do that anymore. Like I don't even, unless I've watched it, read it, or seen it, like, I mean, own it. I don't talk about shit about other people's movies or, like at the moment, everybody's going on about like Odyssey and all that. I mean, my take on Odyssey is that, well, you guys just destroyed a historically amazing story, right? Homer's story that's been in existence for centuries, and you are making your own thing about it and trying to make us gaslight us into thinking this is what it is, right? With AI generated mock-ups, because what you're showing is a mock-up of your item, right? You're trying to say, hey, Grok, can you make this into a 3D image so I can show people what it will look like when we actually make a 3D physical item, so people get an idea in case they have an idea of what they might be getting, right? This is not the final product.
Might be doing some people might be messing around with it for fun. They're not trying to make a product. They're just like,
yeah,
I was just screwing around with it. I mean, that should be considered okay.
Well, the thing is that people are just anal about everything because they're afraid, right? They think that like it really comes down to like having an opinion. Like everybody's got one, right? So everybody's got to have their opinion about everything. And people like drama, man. Like, for me, I'm like, well, if you don't like it, move on, maybe.
Don't say anything.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, maybe find out more about it before you make a comment on it, which is what which is, you know, for me, I think at the end of the day, like, if you don't know much about something, or if go and ask, right?
Well, I mean, I'm not really interested in it. I wasn't really interested in their opinions unless they were buying it. That's like, you know, I don't care. You know,
well, I think
I make an ad. I'm not an artist. You know.
Well, the other thing is that if somebody's interested, it's like, well, this is where I'm going with this. And I think a lot of times the first thing to do to stop people from like making, you know, stupid and inane comments on shit, it's like, well, this is what it's really about, right? This is what this is. Let me tell you exactly what it is. So I don't like to give people room to question what I'm doing, because I give, you know, yeah, this is a Western manga. It is not made by Japanese, right? It is not a manhwa or a manhwa, right? It's not manga. It's Western manga, because the artist who's actually did the artwork is actually Brazilian or Argentinian, but he went to a manga school to learn to draw that way, right? And I think the idea is that a lot of people like to just spurt out comments because they're inadequate about themselves, right? See, if you're happy with yourself and if you're confident about what you're doing, you really don't have to comment about other people, what other people are doing at the end of the day, right? Because you're too busy doing your own shit. And I mean, I remember, like, you know, you talk about that. I remember, like, I put a post about, let me bring in something here before I move on to this movie thing. So we had this image go out, I think, as a promotion piece for Incredible. I think it was from Incredible 1, right? And I think this is the finished one we got putting out on this coming week on Kickstarter. But so I want to show you something here. And some ladies, right, a female, in New Zealand creators, comic book creators page, had the insane idea that she didn't like the way that this, you know, and there was a different image, right? That it was like how this here was going into this area, right? Her, dang it, I need to get rid of that one. Yeah. So wait, pointer. Yeah, there we go. So it was going her top, and this is like about 2 years ago, right? We're about to put out issue 2 because we've actually completed it. Everything's completed. So they didn't like how this, and it was a different image, but her comment was, "Oh, you males don't know how women's breasts are, you know, and how the clothing things." I was like, what you don't know is that this is actually a nanite costume. So it's actually machines on top of her actual clothes. So her original streetwear is actually underneath it. And this whole thing is actually nanites over the top of that costume. That's why it is able to be this way. And I'm like, but that was the whole thing. Not the fact that, hey, oh, wow, we got a female superhero from New Zealand, you know, and you're doing, you know, you've written a book, and, you know, we haven't seen a New Zealand female superhero before. You know, it's the first of its kind that we know of. But her thing was, oh yeah, it's, you know, her gotcha, right? Because that's what it really is. It's like their way of going, oh, you know, it's a gotcha, you know. Oh, you males always portray females like this. Like, there's a reason why it's that way, because she's wearing a fucking nanite what is called machines are forming her clothing this way over the top of it. That's why the you know, her logo is always going to be like perfect, no matter what bend, right? Whichever way you look at it, it's always going to show you as you know, the proper look of it. No matter how you see it, it's always going to come out looking this way, because the machines are on top of her clothing, right? And it's like, it's sometimes people will go out of the way to comment without having the full knowledge of stuff, right? And that's why at the end of the day, they actually make themselves out to be a fool because of the lack of ignorance, right? Lack of ignorance? Because of their ignorance and lack of knowledge.
Before we move on, I want to say that my book is now available in 2 stores.
Where's your links?
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
But it's available in your city, right? But like they can get it from Amazon. So Amazon's what you got to share. And then talk about what. Oh, you got it to 2 stores because you only had it in 1 store before, right? Let me, where is it? I have it somewhere. Where is the link for this thing? Damn it. Wait, Term Olsen, Amazon. There it is. There we go. So you can actually get Tim's book, which is completed 100%, on Amazon. Right here. This is a special edition, but he's actually got it all put together as a Timothy Lee. It's like General Lee, right? So this is I think this is will take you there for everything.
All right, it's in the private chat.
Yep. So this is the entire link for Tim's Amazon page. And you can get any of these books. I think this is this the...
That's issue 0.
Right. So you got all the paperbacks here. Well, floppies, right? Where can they get your... oh, yeah. So here's the Melvin Collected Edition. So you can get actually the Collected
all 5
Edition.
issues, yeah.
Right. As a trade paperback. Available now. From... Where is that? Hold on. Give me a second.
Critical Blast.
Critical Blast.
Yeah. But you know what's really cool is like it's if you're in Idaho, it's available at Rubaiyat's, and it's available in Meridian. That's in Caldwell, and then it's available in Meridian at a store called Collector's Outpost.
Right. So it's basically in Idaho at the moment. So if you live in Idaho, you can go physically pick it up from those 2 stores, or you can pick it up from
they can deliver
Amazon.
it. Maybe they can mail. Maybe they can mail you a copy if you pay for it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you go in physically to get it, it'll be better because you get to see other stuff. And you are you offering single issues there as well alongside the hardcover, bro?
No, just the I think trades sell better in stores, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but, I mean, this is a bookshop, right? Or is it a comic shop? These 2 places.
Rubaiyat's is a used bookstore / game shop.
Yeah. Ignore this is a New Zealand prices, so
yeah. Collector's Outpost is a comics shop, and I think basically it's a collector's shop, but they have a lot of comic books. Yeah.
And if you want to order via online, if you want to search it out, who's got it, you got the ISBN number. And I'm like 100% behind getting your book to a collected edition and into stores. That's my full-on desire for everything we create. The final goal is to get a trade paperback into stores. And
You'd be surprised. All you gotta do is contact and start talking to store owners, like small store, mom and pop store owners, because they're willing to help. They're willing to kind of give you a step up.
Yeah, and this is 162 pages. The thing about like having a complete book is that you can do that, right? The option of actually going and saying, "Here's my book. I am the author. I am the creator of this. I've worked with artists. Can you showcase my book for a month or a couple of weeks, at your store and see how it goes?"
All they can do is, all they can do is give it a chance.
Yeah, 162 pages, guys. Melvin from Velvet Comics.
Through Critical Blast.
through creek or bass. Now we're going to move on, and we're going to be talking about two YouTuber made movies, and a third one I haven't seen. So we won't be talking about that, but we're going to start off with Iron Long. This is a trailer we're going to play, and this was pulling teeth to watch, sadly. And it's one of the most expensive ones compared to, out of the two movies, right? So I'm going to play the trailer here. It's about a minute 40 seconds, and then we'll come back and talk about it, because I'm going to go find the IMDb page for this. But as someone who has a background in filmmaking, I guess I have some sort of like knowledge about what I'm going to talk about these movies, and why I think, my opinion on this, why I'm sharing my opinion on this and the way I am, right? Because of the background I have in filmmaking. I have a bachelor's degree in digital filmmaking. I've sat under 2 American film. I've actually, my film tutor was a sound editor. I think a sound editor on Good Will Hunting, right? So my tutor of 3 years was the editor on Good Will Hunting. So, and my other tutor was an American doctor, PhD, who worked as filmmaking, and tutorials and stuff. So let's play this, and I'll go find the IMDb page for. And the reason I would say this is like the cost of making it, and they're 2 very different settings, and they like so starkly different financially and creatively. It's like chalk and cheese, really.
I see that question in your eyes. For what purpose do we remain alone in the dark?
Beginning the descent. Cruising depth in roughly 2 minutes. Stand by.
I ask myself that very same question.
I'm seeing some voltage irregularities on the instrument, so keep an eye out for sparks or flames or anything like that.
Why would there be flames?
You did test this thing, right?
This is the test. Closing porthole shielding.
Where's the reason for this quiet rapture? Too few to rebuild, too many to feed.
You're the first one down. All we have are surface scans, that's why you're there. Well, one of the reasons.
Can we just agree this is important? Food, air. We need this, not just to seal why all of us. We need this.
There aren't enough of us left to be throwing lives away, but there is too much at stake not to take calculated risks. Eden doesn't understand that. You don't understand that.
I just want to live. Is that so wrong? Why doesn't anybody else want that?
Interesting.
Yeah, and fucking boring. One of the most boring movies I've seen when it comes to horror in recent years. So Iron Lung is by Mikey Pilar.
Are they trying to be atmospheric, like Alien or something, where it was all about the atmosphere? Really,
it's one of the most. It's like a single set movie. Like it's they try and do as minimalist production as possible, right? But my takeaway was like they spent more money on digital imagery than actually on writing a good script. Because if you look at this, right? So actually, let me tell you what the movie's about first. So in a post-apocalyptic future after the Great Quiet Rapture event, a convict explores a blood ocean on a desolate moon using a submarine called the Iron Lung to search for missing stars' planets. So basically, he's in a blood sea, right? Outside, it's all blood, and they're going into the tank, the submarine, the Iron Lung. It goes into the water, and he's like basically driving it. And the whole thing, and there's a stupid shit about this movie, is that it's just him in there. Everybody, all the other voices you heard, then those people don't appear. They physically are not part of the film. They're just there vocally. Their sound, over what you call it, like a voiceover is there. They don't exist.
It's gonna be artsy.
Yeah, it's a one-man fucking film that is so depressingly boring. And its worst is it's 2 hours bloody long. Half an hour more than it should be. Or actually, an hour more than it should be. So, like, I'm not the only one. I gave it a 6 out of 10 because of effort, right? 1 extra point for effort. Otherwise, it would have been 5. But check out how much money it cost them to do this, right? Which is where it shows where they spent $3 million on this, but it made $50 million, a profit, huge profit. But the movie itself is shit. And most of the people that probably went to see this is because of his audience. So Mike Palayer, let me see, who is he? Because I don't know this dude, right? So I can't say I have a bias or anything. I'm just seeing his movie and going on with his movie. So he has a following of 38 million people, right, on YouTube. So this is his YouTube page. I've never seen anything from him before. So this was a surprise to me because, I don't go hunt down these, million plus, YouTube channels because I'm just really not about that. I'd rather go subscribe to smaller channels that interest me than some big, huge, channel with 38 million people following it. So dude's been around forever, I guess. That's why he's got a huge following. Yeah, so he's been around online since 2012. So 14 years, right? Put out about almost 6,000 videos. However, when you got a budget of $3 million to make a movie, and all you do is a single tank, single scene, right? It's single set, I should say, single set, not single scene. And all it is that you are inside this like freaking bullet submarine type thing, and that's it. You got to have a amazing script to pull it off, right? Because there are some movies that have been done that way that's really, really, really worked, right? And this one, yep.
Question: would you need that big of a budget if it's just one set?
Well, that's why I said at the start, majority of that movie or that budget was probably spent on 3D, on CGI, and just all the digital imagery, because it's just full of digital shit and the CGI shit, right? And the thing here is like, this is why I wanted to pick on these two movies, because I saw them within the same week or so. This one and also Obsession, and why they're chalk and cheese, right? Because one's a really smart director and one's got a lot of following, lots of money behind it. And remember, the $3 million amount is going to blow your mind away when I tell you how much the other film had as a budget in comparison, bro. But here's the thing, he made $50 million on this. Where is it? Right, so it's a plus. But the thing is, it's almost like he's an actor, director, right? Actually, hold on, and the writer, I think, on this, Mike Palayer. Yeah, so as you can see here, is a writer, director, and star, right? The actual on-screen star, because everybody else is off-screen voiceovers. So he would have, he's made really, as a financial profit, he walks away with a big lot of money to do better, But I think they should have had more than one set, because it's just, I mean, I know it's more than one set, but the fact that he's just inside this tank makes it really boring as fuck, right? It took me about 3 watches to watch it, because it was just like droning and boring, bro. It was like,
It kind of sounded like he was trying to pull off like Alien, you know, where it's all about the atmosphere and not necessarily about the action. And it sounds like he made it too atmospheric.
Well, the thing was, there's nothing else outside. Like, it's supposed to be the sea of, you know, blood, right? And there's supposed to be other ships outside there, outside the sea, right? I mean, outside his tank, whatever, Iron Lung, right? His submarine. But they only show that in images. Like, they could have actually done like a camera angle where you go around it and actually show people inside that other place, because supposedly there's a person in that other submarine, right?
It's a visual medium. I get it.
Yeah, and it's like it's almost like he's like a first-time filmmaker who doesn't understand the medium, right? But overall, and this is why I gave the 1 extra point, apart from like 5 out of 10, is because it is quite well made, right? There are some really cool things about it, and that's all because of all the digital CGI shit, and that's because he was able to spend probably like $2 million just on that. But I mean, the one I think is one of the best horror movies that came out this year, well, you know, last year, I guess, is Obsession, bro. Obsession is one of the greatest current horror movies, with one of the best acting professionally that I've ever thought of. Like, I gave it 8 out of 10, bro. And like, I'm quite surprised that 200,000 other people feel the same way about this, because as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. No, like, I mean, if there's any CGI, it's very minimal, right? So I'm going to let you comment on the trailer. So let me put this trailer up, and then we'll talk about the budget.
Have you ever actually like flirted with Nikki?
I'm gonna go get some shots.
I'll come with you if she means this much to you. And I know she does. Say, Nikki, I think we should grab a drink sometime.
Nikki, wait. I was gonna ask you.
What?
I lost my train of thought.
Good
night. What else?
Why?
One wish will you only get one wish. I wish Nikki Freeman loved me more than anyone in the entire world.
I love you so much. A love only the branch of a willow tree could conjure.
It's weird how you two are dating all of a sudden. Like, super dating.
I think Nikki is going through something.
Like what? Is she okay?
No.
Jeez, what kind of spells you put on her?
Nikki? I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I was calling to see if there's a way I can cancel a wish.
I'm sorry, we don't really do that.
So she's just stuck like this forever?
Well, yeah, I mean, as long as you live.
As long as I live?
What did you think?
It sounds like it sounds like it's kind of a stalker movie.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sounds like that if they do a sequel, they should call it Nikki.
Nikki. No, it should be like, Nikki, are you okay? Are you okay, Nikki? I couldn't stop thinking about the Michael Jackson song as soon as I heard him say that. Are you okay, Nikki? Nikki. So the story here is like, after breaking the mysterious One Wish Willow to win his crush's heart, a hopeless romantic finds himself getting exactly what he asked for, but he soon discovers that some desires come at a dark, sinister price. So, indie,
it's kind of like careful what you wish for.
Exactly, right. So, the director, writer of this is, of course, as I mentioned, another YouTuber, right? So, since we covered 2 YouTube movies, and the thing is, these guys have also, and here's the thing about Curry Mike Baker, right? It's a weird name, right? Curry Baker. Like, Curry's usually the last surname. Like, I've heard people be called, you know, but not the first name. So Curry and Coop, right? They have a YouTube channel that's got about 1 million plus, 1.5 million subscribers. They've been around also for how long? 2016, right? So 4 years less than Mike LePile. And also, they have about 30 million less, 30.3 million less subscribers, right? However, these guys have cut their teeth on making short films. And there was another movie that I watched from them, which was Milk and Cereal, right? Which is this one here. A found footage movie, free to watch on YouTube. Pretty cool. I like the twist. Very, low budget. I think they spent about $800 on it, and was really well done. However, when you look at where are we? The difference between the $3 million on Mike LePlaya's movie, right? Mark Plyer's movie compared to Obsession, which has a whole bunch of people acting in it, right? You saw there was like at least all these people at the party. You got about 4 main actors in it, right? You had Bear, who's the lead, guy. You got Ian, his mate, and then you got Nikki, who's the lead actress. And then you got the side, support actors. Sarah, she does a great job being a Lawless. And then you've also got a couple of others, right? And then, of course, the others that come to the party. Now, I'm going to shock you, bro. Can you tell me, make a guess as to how much do you think was spent on making this movie?
Probably less than half of what the other guy spent.
So you're thinking 1.5 million, not 3 million?
Yes.
Think about half of that again.
Even less?
Yeah.
They really used what they had.
Bro, $750 million.
So that's wow.
Sorry, not 50 million. Sorry, $750,000. My bad. Where'd I get a million? Oh, yeah, because I was thinking about millions. Yeah, $750,000, bro.
Wow. That's even less than the other guy.
Under $1 million. Less than a third.
Yep. Proving our point that you don't have to spend a lot of money to make something great.
However, if you use the money that you have to make something great, you bring in 8 times what the other movie did that cost 3 times more to make. Almost $409 million, bro, on a movie made on a budget of $750,000 by YouTubers.
That's called using what you have and not trying to make something you don't have.
This is indie movie making, bro. Just like us in indie comics, we're able to do so much with so little, and sometimes with no money at all, because people are just working together, to produce a story, a comic book, and hoping that it'll do well, and then we'll get something. We'll be able to pay ourselves. However, not always do you make some, that you come out as a winner. So between Mike Player's Iron Lung, which I thought was shit, and I said so, compared to which was made for $3 million, which only brought in $50 million profit, a budget made by Curry Barker, is it Barker or Baker? Curry Barker, right? Brought in $400 million. That's 8 times what Mike Palaya's 38 million subscribers, right? It just goes to show, like you said, man, if you stick with the budget and you work really hard to make something good with the limited amount you have, right? I mean, look at that, 750,000 term. Yep. This is what, like, half of this is what a Marvel movie costs to make, right? For a $200 million an average Marvel movie, just for the budget.
You don't want to be a guy that tries to sound like a big shot and that you're the next big thing, and then you have nothing to show for it except for the same pages that you showed last year.
Right.
Ice Age my ass.
Yeah, man, like, just, and this is why I just, they did such a good job, man. And the thing is, Indy Navrati, I know Michael's pretty cool in this, but Indy Navrati, this chick, bro, deserves an Oscar. And if she doesn't get an Oscar, the people should complain to the Oscars, because she did an amazing job, bro. Like, honestly, 8 out of 10, bro. And on a budget of $750,000, not even $1 million, dude. And this is what, we were talking about earlier about how Iron Lung didn't understand Mike Palaia didn't understand the visual narrative of a movie, which is show, don't tell, right? Where all he did was show. I mean, he told. A lot of the shit was just telling. It was so boring, and I couldn't. It took me three watches before I could actually make it way through, because I kept falling asleep through it. Whereas Obsession, I was like, holy shit, what the, oh, what? Why aren't you? Oh no, all the way through it. And I'm like, and so much so, right, that I love this movie, Obsession so much, I put up 3 short clips about it, because I just thought, like, these Curry Barker did an amazing job, dude. Like, seriously, this guy, $400 million on a $750,000 budget. He, like, to make sense of that, right? Let's check out a Marvel movie, right? Let's go. Oh, actually, Supergirl, right? Let's go look at Supergirl, since it's the main, the thing right now, right? So, Supergirl cost how much? Because I was saying, like, it's usually average. These movies average around about like $200 million, right? So Supergirl, all the CGI, all the costumes, and all that cost how much to make, and how much profit has it brought in, right? Because it always comes down to, with this sort of stuff, it's all about budget and profit, a gross worldwide. Remember, I said around $200 million for a Hollywood, like a Marvel or DC movie, Hollywood blockbuster. $170 million, and to make that, to break even, it's got to be around about $30 million to break even. it's didn't even make back its money. And so now Supergirl, having all that power of Hollywood, bro, all that studio money, $170 million, is a bomb, because it's not only did not recuperate or break even, it's actually only got, hasn't even, it made a third of what it's supposed to make just to break even, right? Yet you've got someone, a YouTuber, who only had $750,000, right? A fraction, right, of that money, was able to make four times, because it made $1 million, $100 million, right? Supergirl, on a budget of 170. But Curry Barker made 4 times the amount of Supergirl on a horror movie, bro. All right, horror movies usually what doesn't really, isn't your blockbuster movie. You've got movies like Smile, which was another friggin' brilliant movie. I actually saw that at the movies with my friend. He said, "Oh, come on, we're going to go watch a movie." Smile, right? I also watched this. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I also, and actually probably deserves more than that, 7.5. That movie was made on 17 million, right? But brought in 200 million. So really, it made probably a profit of $180 million, right? And this is like first-time movie makers, by the way, if I remember right. Parker Finn, I don't think he's done shorts before, but I don't think he did many feature lengths. Yeah, so shorts, right? Cutting his teeth on shorts, and then it gets Smile 1, Smile 2. Smile 2, he had a bigger budget, and they used that bigger budget with like concerts and stuff. There's like a full-on concert that happens in it, because it's about a pop star. So I guess they needed that money for that. So they doubled it, right, to $11 million more, right? But they still brought in another $100 million profit on a horror movie. Yet Supergirl, they actually beat out Supergirl, bro, right, on a horror movie. It goes to show that if you have a good story and you understand the medium, right, visually, you can do well. And this is why I think Mike Palair doesn't understand the medium of filmmaking, and it shows with how people reacted to his movie compared to Obsession, right? Both YouTubers, and very drastic when one's got 38 plus million people subscribed to one that's only got 1.5, right? It goes to show that a good movie, a good story, and an understanding of that narrative of what a movie is about, which is show, don't tell, you can make a better movie on a lower budget. And the winner out of the two here is Obsession. Out of Mike Palair's and Curry Barker's movies, both YouTubers, Obsession is the winner on the day, because visually this movie is fucking brain dead good, right? Was it supposed to be brain dead good or like mind blowing, right? Brain dead being the opposite, mind blowing good. Have you actually, do you actually watch horror movies, Tim? Are you into that sort of thing?
Like some horror movies. I mean, I'm not really for the gore. I'm more for like the concept. Like, I do like horror comedies, like Evil Dead 2.
Right. Yeah, I've watched horror movies since I was like a teenager, like not even a teenager, like really, really young. Like, I think I can't remember the name of it now. Is it Idle Hands? No, it wasn't Idle. There's a movie. Gosh, there's a movie way back when where it's about an artist who loses his hand, and so it's a horror movie. Let me see if I can find it. 1980s horror movie about a cartoonist whose hand is chopped off. Let's see if we can find out the name, because it's one of the earliest horror movies I ever watched. It was like very early 1980s. I watched it was on TV, I think. And to think that's it. It's The Hand. The Hand. And it's by Oliver Stone. Right? So I kept thinking it was Idle Hand. And it's an interesting movie because it's about a comic book artist, right? Or like an artist. And I think I'm not sure. Have you ever watched this movie?
I don't think I've heard of it.
Right. So basically, a comic book artist loses his hand, which in turn takes on a murderous life of its own. Right. Very simple premise. It's a B horror movie, psychological horror, but it's got one of the greatest actors of all time, right? Michael Caine. You know, Michael Caine's like legend in his own making. I think he's got like Oscars and everything, right? Yeah, 2 Oscars, not just the one, 2 Oscars, right? And Michael Caine, you know, one of the greatest actors of all time, and still acting. So check this out. So I've been a long time fan of horror movies, right? And I mean, I'm writing horror comics right now.
You think I've done something wrong, don't you?
Terror he could not forget.
You think there's something in there, don't you?
Torment he could not bear.
You want to see?
Truth he would not face.
Hey! Take a look!
Orion Pictures presents Michael Caine in The Hand.
You don't want me to go to New York with you, do you?
I'm not talking about a separation or anything permanent or anything like that. I thought you understood that. I thought that was why you said
Well,
that I could...
we obviously do not understand each other. Look out! Get back!
How does it feel?
Like we're still there. My fingers. Like they're moving.
You'll have phantom feelings for years. Heat, irritation, pain. Your memory is still feeding familiar sensations of having a handle on your nerve endings.
What have you been doing during these blackouts?
Misplacing things.
I'd be scared if I were you. Did you see my signet ring?
No. Are you all right?
Oh, yes. You never know what you can do. The unconscious is capable of anything. You could do anything you ever dreamed of and never had the guts to do.
Hi. I like the way you look at me.
Blackouts are nothing to fool with. You could kill somebody. It's all up there, and you'll never know.
Know what?
Who you are.
Don't be afraid of the pain. Tell me what you're feeling.
You're trying to kill me, aren't you?
Sense it, feel it, touch it.
You want to destroy me?
What is your image?
A man trapped in a nightmare, locked in the grasp of the hand.
John? John? John?
What's the matter? Why are you looking at me like that?
There's no hand.
Michael Caine in The Hand.
Imagine being 8 years old and watching that, dude. Because that's how old I was when I watched that. And I think my mom was, like, both mom and I were watching it. And I was watching it, I think I was watching the scary parts between my fingers, right? And I didn't even realize until maybe a while, you know, about a decade or two later, that he was actually a comic book artist. And it's crazy when you realize that, like, you know, because, you know, I've had a hand accident where I can't draw anymore, like, really the way I used to, like about 3 decades back before I had the accident in 1994. And it's like then watching this after, years later going, holy shit, he was a cartoonist. He was like comic book artist who lost his hand. And the other thing I noticed was like nowadays there's a lot more cases about people blacking out and doing things in the media where sleepwalking has become quite prominent in actual crime, like modern crime. There's people go and talk a bit more about this, but this is like hell, 1981, when they were making movies about that sort of psychosis, when people are asleep and what happens if the other side of them wakes up. But this movie, I think Idle Hands would be the one that would be more up your tree with like comedy. Have you heard of Idle Hands?
Yeah, that has like Seth Green.
Yeah, this is really cool, man. This is like 1999.
I remember that one.
Yeah, it did really
What
good.
about? Have you seen Shriek? If you know what I did last Friday the 13th.
Wait, what? That's actually a movie?
Yeah, it was called I think Shriek or Scream, if you know what I did last Friday the 13th.
All right, so it's like parody movie, right?
It's a parody movie. Yeah, it happened on Halloween and Friday the 13th. How does that happen? Oh, forget Slab. He's dyslexic.
So Scream, if you know
what I did last Friday the 13th, something like that.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
So it came out a year after the other one.
Yeah.
All right. Let me put this out there as well. Let's watch this trailer. I've never heard of this. I think maybe I might have, because it's like friggin' 26 years ago.
It might have come out on TV. I'm not sure. I saw it on TV. I don't think I ever saw it advertised in
movie. So if you guys want to check that out, there's IMDb link for it. But
it has the guy that was in Scary Movie 3.
Wait, so and I don't think I've actually watched a complete Scary Movie yet.
I must have seen Scary Movie 3 like 7 times.
Would that be because it was more comedic, or
was
it scary?
No, it was because it was more comedic, and it was just I was going through kind of a difficult period, so I needed to laugh at something.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think what was it like? I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream movies I haven't watched. I just don't know why, but I just didn't bother because it was like the whole teen movie slasher thing didn't appeal to me. I need more meat on my bones when it comes to movies.
It's all formula. Those movies are all formula, really.
Right. Yeah, after like the sixth one, it gets a bit thing. But I do love like what's that one where like people die, like or Final Destination, right? So I love Final Destination. That really the last one was really good.
And then the joke becomes how bad is death at its job.
Yeah. But knowing that people are going to die and how things are set up is what I love about Final Destination. Like the last one was really, the most recent one, right? It's so good. Like the whole setup and it was, Bloodlines. Bloodline is just really, really cool, man. I thought Bloodline was well done. So, okay, let's watch this trailer because I've never, let me see if I remember ever watching it.
In every horror movie, there is a phone waiting to ring.
Hello?
A victim waiting to scream. A killer waiting to strike.
Perfect. Just perfect.
A and a spoof dying to get made. But in the spoof of a spoof,
Yo, what's up?
the killer is getting dumber.
Did you guys hear the news? Barb was sliced, diced, fried, and hung.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never gonna get laid.
And the students are scared stupid.
Bottom line is we're all in danger. Somehow, the killer always knows where we are.
Let's go, man.
The killer could have been any one of us.
Shut up! How many times do you think we've heard that in our lives, huh?
Well, at least I feel safe here. Hi, Chucky. Wanna play?
This time,
There are certain rules you have to follow if you want to survive.
Are we gonna be tested on this?
the rules get even tougher.
This went down.
Number 1, exaggerate everything. Number 88, accept the ridiculous is logical.
That's ridiculous!
Finally, sexual sight gags.
God bless my eyebrows.
Always funny.
What? Actually, they're C cups. Guess I gotta get these things redone.
The killer may be silent,
Huh?
but he's still deadly.
Did you hear that?
Oh, excuse me.
A comedy so scary, it hurts.
Surprise! Are you sure you're not a lesbian?
Well, once at camp.
Shriek. If you know what I did last Friday the 13th,
This never happened.
No! I just ate!
No, I haven't seen it, and I'm gonna have to see it.
Yeah, it did have some pretty good. It even made fun of Grease.
Right.
Yeah.
20 years ago, man, movies were so much more fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it's laughing at itself, parody, the whole shebang.
Parodies were starting to get ridiculous by the early 2000s, so
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
I
like
mean,
everyone.
that Meet the Spartans movie was bad, except for maybe a few jokes here and there.
Okay, I think that covers us for today. But there is there's so many really cool movies that are available for free to watch on YouTube right now, and I was quite surprised to see that how many of they're really good stuff. And now there's this one I came across, that came across my homepage yesterday, and I was watching it. It's this one here. It's called The Cockpit 1993 anime, and it's actually got it's about aviation. And let me get rid of that. And it's all the movies are there's 3 stories in it and 3 shorts in this entire movie, right? 90-minute whatever movie, and all of them are around about aviation, fighter pilots, and and different, I think from World War II. But the art style is very it's by different creators, directors. So this one here reminds me of Space Captain Harlot, a space pirate Captain Harlot,
You can
this
see that.
art style. Yeah, and so I think, let me see if I can bring this up to get all the. I think there's 3 different directors, if I remember right. Yeah. So it's all hand drawn art, which is really amazing, right? So yeah, there's 3 segments and 3 different directors, and it's based on a manga comic book by Leiji Matsumoto. And so the directors are Takashi Imanishi, Yoshiaki Kawajiri, and Ryosuke Takahashi. And where I'm reading that from is actually from IMDb, in case you're wondering. But yeah, so the art styles, man, is just amazing. So I'm going to play the trailer rather than play this, because, you know, having 3 different directors, you know, showcasing there, and it's all hand drawn, which is freaking amazing. You know, from 93 to 94, it was three little segments, like half an hour, 23-minute segments made into 1 hour, 90-minute film, right? Now, what I want, where is it? I was going to show you who these people were, right? So, these directors. So, Blue Comet, Mobile Suit Gundam, director of that, right? And all these other pretty cool series. But, and the other guy who worked on it, or the other 2, Yoshiaki, he's worked on Ninja Scroll, Animatrix, Vampire Hunter D, right? Wicked City, freaking classics. So this is, and by the way, like I said, it's actually available on YouTube to watch right now. There's a link in the chat for that. So 3 20-minute shorts, 25-minute shorts, and by some of the greatest animators in the anime directors in the world. Wait, I thought I missed it. Oh yeah, so 2 of them worked on. You got Blue Gender, which is freaking awesome. Where are we? Armored Troopers. Armored Trooper? I don't think. Oh, Votum. I've seen Votum, but I haven't seen. Didn't realize it's also called Armored Trooper Votum. Votum's really cool. Like, really, really cool. I need to finish the series. But yeah, so back to the trailer. So there's one way, like watching something like this, like it's a good way, it's a good introduction to see the art form and the creative styles of these directors. And, you know, because you see the entire movie, but you have 3 different, you know, shorts from them to see how good they are as masterful, you know.
Urban Vision Entertainment brings to America the Masters of Anime. The Cockpit is 3 stories of heroes in a time of war by 3 of the great anime directors. Yoshiaki Kawajiri, Takashi Imanishi, and Ryosuke Takahashi team up on scripts by Japan's foremost comic book writer of his generation, Leiji Matsumoto. 3 visions of horror, destruction, and sacrifice, captured in spectacular art and outstanding animation. Aerial combat that leaps from the screen. Struggling between life and death, driven by honor, loyalty, and courage. 3 men, each must complete their mission. Each must take their seat in the cockpit, including exclusive interviews with all 3 directors. Available only from Urban Vision Entertainment.
So, like I said, you can see it for free on YouTube right now. And, man, I was surprised because I never heard of it. And I thought, you know, if it hadn't shown up on my homepage, I would be, you know, I might have never thought about watching it. But there are some really, and the thing is broken up too, so you can watch each. So there's a story, there's Slipstream, and then you got Sonic Boom Squadron, and then the last one, I've only seen the Sonic Boom Squadron, and that's a really thought-provoking and very cool little short there, and then you've got Night of the Iron. Where is it? Night of the Iron Dragon. Like, I'll show you some of the visuals here. So yeah, so if you want to check it out, the link's there in the chat, of course on the screen. But each of these stories are 23 minutes long, and man, it's just, what's it, like 90? Yeah, 93 to 94. So three shorts from that time. So that 23 years, no, 20, 33 years old, classics, all hand-drawn animation. No CGI, no digital coloring. One of the interesting thing is, like, I noticed some of, like, the character designs like this. I could tell, you know, the artwork, because this is like from what is it, like Yamamoto? Yeah, Space Battleship Yamamoto, or the other one I mentioned earlier was like Space Pirate Captain Harlock. I've just started watching Space Captain Harlock, the series, the original from the 1970s, and also just finished the first one from 2012, remake of the Space Battleship Yamamoto, which is, you know, this submarine spaceship going through space battles to land on another place that they've been searching for. It's a really awesome series if you haven't seen it. It's just like every episode is a battle. It's crazy, like just watching this captain just try to take his people to this new planet to call that, you know, for humanity to live on again. But I found it pretty funny because I got like all these characters here that are like done in this style, and then you've got the lead character, right? And he looks like it's got this where is it? There. It looks like this, right? Come on, where is it? Did I go past it? There. So you've got these two, and the rest of them looking like this. And then you've got the main lead looking like that, who's a young kid, because the other one's like, they're trying to show that they're the older people, elderly. And then you also have the Americans here as well. Right? And their style of art and, you know, features and stuff. The sound design, the voiceover, it's really good on the series. So yeah. And there's stuff I didn't know about, which is quite interesting about this paddle. Is it rose petal? Or was it plum petal or something like they call it? Hold on.
The lead ship now. He's on his way. Sorry. An enemy rocket is heading right this way, sir. What? It's the human bomb. Try and blow it up. It's too fast. Oh my God, the plane must have broken through the sound barrier. The boom came after the crash. Huh? What's this? Must belong to the pilot. It must have been his girlfriend or something. What a waste.
Captain, we just got an urgent message. Our forces have dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima.
Huh? Monstrous. Makes you wonder, are we all crazy?
So yeah, all hand drawn. Do check it out. Free to watch on YouTube. The Cockpit from 33 years ago. Classic masters of anime. Directors of anime, I should say. Animation. Okay, Tim, you got anything to add before we close up here, or did you want to talk about anything else?
No, nothing I want to talk about.
Okay. All right, I think that's us then. It covers us. I'm actually, I just closed off something I wanted just finishing off here. So there is a series that you can watch for free as well, a classic TV show called Space 999. So if you've never heard of it, it's this one here. So as we finish off here, it's from 1975, another amazing classic show for grown-ups, right? This is with it's more kind of like grounded science fiction. Man, it's 2 years after I was born it came out. So if you've never heard of it, it's free to watch on YouTube as well. And let me get the link for that. And then that'll be us for today. Where did I go? Oh, it's over here. So stop it. It's about this station on a moon, like Earth's moon, that breaks away and goes floating out into space. So it's 48 episodes, and I've been watching it on and off for a while, but I was coloring yesterday, so I started like having it on in the background while I was doing that. So here's a whole playlist on YouTube that you can get to and watch if you need something to, different and older, a bit more grounded. It's sci-fi. If you're into sci-fi, that is. So these are hold up. These are hour-long shows, right? 52-minute long episodes, and there's about 48 of them from 1975. Remember, no CGI back in those days. So everything's practical effects, models.
Professor Bergman, it's Jim Nordstrom. We've just passed through the laser barrier, and we should be ready to start Dr. Russell's manual check on the radiation seals in a couple of minutes.
All right, Nordstrom.
So this is from, what's his name, Gary Anderson, and Sylvia Anderson, his wife. But yeah, if you've never thought about giving Space 1999 a try, do check it out. And it's free to watch on YouTube right now. Okay, that's us for today. Tim, hang out for a bit. And for everybody else, thank you so much for hanging out with us on this, movie, what would you call it? Like movie discussion, along with, what's happening in China, but mainly movie discussion. And I'm so excited, man. I'm just to see how Curry Barker has done so well on a $750,000 budget for a movie that made $400 million. It goes to show if you can do a lot if you stick within the little budget. That's something that was taught to us when we were at film school, was that doesn't matter what the budget is, be practical and smart with it and try to do as much as you can with no matter what the budget is. One of the things that Hollywood hasn't learned is that they think that just because you got a budget, you got to blow it out. Like, you know, some of the movies that end up costing $300 million. Well, the higher your budget is for something you're creating, the more costly it gets to try to, you know, to gain it back. So it's like when people do, like in comic books, when people do a lot of covers and stuff, each time you put a cover out and you got to pay somebody to do it, you also got to print it. And the more you got to print, the more cost and the cuts it takes from your profit. This is something Hollywood has forgotten to, you know, to get back to practical aspects of it, where like everything's about CGI. But when you look at what Curry Barker did with his Obsession movie, it just blows away, you know, the whole idea of what is, you know, what is achievable, right? And what isn't, what you can do with the little that you have. And I think for any of us who are in the independent scene, right, just because you have a big budget doesn't mean you're going to create great art, right? It might help you get the big names to work on it, but if the story's shit, right, if your end product is shit, it doesn't matter anything. And that's why I thought, like, I decided to put up the two movies that I saw, which is, you know, The Iron Lung from a YouTuber and Obsession from a YouTuber in this stream. So thank you. Check it out. But man, Obsession is the winner of the day compared to Iron Lung, right? And everybody thinks so as well who have watched it. So do give it, I mean, watch them both, right? And I'm not telling you not to watch Iron Lung. I'm just saying that I didn't think it was a great movie. It needed more. It needed more visually to make it work, rather than, it was a movie that told you rather than showed you. And Obsession is a movie that showed you that rather than tell you. And man, Indy Navarrete, bro, she is like the next big thing, I reckon, when it comes to acting. Such an amazing actress, like crazy amazing actress. All right, that's it for me. Do check out our friend, you know, Tim's work out there at Amazon. Let me see if I can bring the link. It is right here. You can pick it up here. His collected trade paperback volume 1 from Melbourne. ISBN numbers in the chat as well. You can locate it through your bookshop. You know, because I think you can like go to your bookshop and find it that way and say, hey, can you bring this in for me? Wherever wherever you're able to go use the ISBN numbers through. And that's it for me. Ka kite anō. Do you want to say goodbye, Tim?
Yes.
With a delayed yes. Okay. Bye for now, guys. Wherever you are, be well, be safe. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And like, subscribe, share. Until next time, bye for now. Oh, and on this week, we're launching Incredible number 2. And also, we're launching... Gosh, I forgot it now. What is it called? We're launching... The Tortoise. That's it. We're launching The Tortoise, but you can also read The Tortoise on Webtoons, minus the missing pages right here. Right. So bye for now. Catch ya. And we'll see you later. Ka kite anō.
Nope. Can't stay here anymore. I gotta get back. I think this was the spot. Oh Lord, I beseech thee, please return me to my old life. I swear I'll do anything. Like, literally anything. And I won't bother you again, so pretty please bring me back to life.